Hey guys, welcome to Fanfic Fanatics. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku was Venomised spider and had Harem? Part 1. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are interested in MHA fanfictions. This story is Spider Izuku Venomized by Cheetah 2. Now without wasting any more time, let's dive in. Izuku's POV. Not everyone is born equally, that's what I've learned at the age of 4. In the world there are quirks, powers that manifested in people. My name is Izuku Midoriya and I'm going to be the greatest hero ever. I'm starting with the scene when All Might says no to Izuku and leaves him. Also, if you know and watch My Hero Academia, then I don't have to say back some of the parts. So that's how it is, huh? I thought, well, maybe I should listen to what Ka. No, after all the torment him and the others have given me, he doesn't deserve to be called that name. He's nothing more than an arrogant, egotistical asshole who doesn't deserve to be a hero. Nobody's POV. While Izuku was leaving the building, he somehow unconsciously walked to the district where the sludge villain was. When he saw that the villain had a hostage and the heroes weren't doing anything with the situation, he was mad. No. Major pissed off. Not only was he turned down by his idol for being quirkless, he started thinking that all heroes ever think of is money and fame. When Izuku saw that the hostage was a young girl around his age, his legs suddenly moved on his own. Replace Bakugo with the girl and you're good. After the situation was cleared, the girl was being checked out by the paramedics while Izuku was being lectured for running towards the villain. Izuku's POV. I was listening to the heroes lecturing me that it was dangerous and I should have let them handle it, when I heard that my anger started swelling up and I yelled. You had it under control, if ain't weren't for me that girl could have died. I was the one WHO found the VILLIANS weak which was his. Fucking. If you all thought because you didn't have the right quirk then you don't deserve to be a hero. When I finished what I had to say, leaving the heroes, civilians and also All Might in his small form, I went to the paramedics to see if the girl was okay. Nobody's POV. When Izuku saw the girl, he said, "Hi, I hope you are okay now, my name is Izuku Midoriya." When the girl heard that, she said, "Yeah, I am okay, and also my name is Ochako Uraraka and thank you for saving me," she said with a smile. Izuku smiled back and said, "Well, since you're okay I should go." When Izuku was about turn he heard a wait. When he looked back at Ochako, she said while blushing, "You wouldn't mind if we have each other's phone numbers, would you?" Izuku suddenly remembered he had low self-confidence towards girls that he started stuttering a quick okay. When they have each other's phone numbers they told each other their goodbyes. A small time skip while Izuku was walking, he was suddenly surprised to see All Might. This got to be good. Izuku thought with anger. "Young man, I just want to say I'm sorry for what I said to you earlier and I want to talk to you about an offer, would you accept?" When Izuku heard what All Might said he felt like his anger was about to cut loose, however he calmed down and said in the most calmness voice with a hint of anger and resentment. "All Might, what you are about to say you can forget it cause I won't accept." When All Might heard that he was beyond shocked that this young man refused his offer. When Izuku said what he had to say he walked past All Might and went to Dagoba Municipal Beach Park. Location. Dagoba Municipal Beach Park. When Izuku found the place with garbage, he suddenly started to cry and yelled, "Why is it so unfair?" After he yelled he calmed down, wiping the tears out of his eyes. When he was finished he started looking around and seeing many electronic devices, some broken and some that could be still operational, but what actually piqued Izuku's interest is some sort of black large boulder. When Izuku walked towards it he saw a black slime slithering towards him. Out of his curiosity he approached it and it sprang on him. He was panicking trying to get it off of him when suddenly he heard a voice. "Wait, don't struggle. I'm not going to hurt you." When Izuku heard that he was looking at the black slime and said, "What are you?" The black goop started to structure itself to form some sort of face. Its teeth were very sharp and big and its eyes were white with no pupils. It then spoke with a very large massive grin. "I am Venom and you are mine." Nobody's POV. Izuku was shocked and little bit shaken that this black goop was the voice that he heard and that it suddenly was talking right in front of him. "You. Well, hello, my name is Izuku Midoriya and what do you mean I'm yours?" he said while stuttering. Venom looked at Izuku and said, "It's exactly as I said, you are mine. The reason being is because I'm sort of a symbiote and I need a host to survive." Izuku was shocked that this thing, a symbiote, actually bonded with him, a useless nobody. Venom interrupted him saying, "You are not useless from what I am seeing through your memories. You were treated this because you didn't have those so-called quirks, but with me I can help you." "How?" Izuku said with confusion. "My species are called Clintar. We have the ability to bond with our host and give them a boost in power. I actually had to bond with some hosts that had the potential like my first host Peter Parker," Venom said with pride swelling on his face. Izuku was quite speechless hearing that Venom can give him a power similar to quirks. Not only that, but hearing that his first host was the American hero Spider-Man from more than 100 years ago made him very excited. "So you're saying is that I can have the same abilities like Spider-Man?" Izuku said with glee. "Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I can also copy weapons for you to use, make you 100 times stronger than even All Might himself, maybe more. You also have regenerative abilities," Venom said. Izuku was beyond shocked to think he can have his dream be made into a reality. He was so excited until he remembered all the pain from his so-called best friend, his classmates and even his teachers and principal. At least his mom still believes in him that he is grateful for. Izuku's POV. "Now I have the power to save people, but I don't want to wait too long, otherwise there might be villains who cause a lot of casualties. I know for a fact that the heroes of this generation only care about themselves than others just to look good, so." Mumble mumble mumble. Nobody's POV. While Izuku was thinking, Venom was bit weirded out hearing his host speaking at a very fast rate. Izuku. No response. Izuku. Still no response. So Venom decided to shout his name right in his ear. "Izuku. Ahhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhh Sorry about that. I guess I was spaced out at the moment." "You were. Anyways, what were you thinking about? Cause I couldn't understand that at all," Venom said with a questionable and curiosity. "Well, just thinking instead of being a hero, I can be a vigilante," Izuku said. Aren't vigilantes considered villains?" Venom said. "Well, yeah, but they do hero work, but illegally. What I want to do is change that. I'm going to be the hero everyone needs, be it being small or a large task, even if I can't save all." Izuku was interrupted by Venom saying, "Actually, you can save people at the same time. Remember, I can multitask, and don't forget I can literally copy quirks." "Oh shit, I forgot about that," Izuku said with a surprised face. When Izuku calmed down, he decided to go home so his mom wouldn't be worried. Small time skip. After calming down his mom saying he's okay, he went in his room, getting dressed in his sleeping wear and went to bed. Izuku's POV. "Tomorrow I'm going to train since it will take 10 months for me to get into UA. Yeah, and we'll show those heroes what a true hero really is," Venom said. "Yeah, tomorrow training to be vigilante, then go to UA General Ed." I see your reason for choosing that course. All right, well, good night, Izuku," Venom said, tiredness in his voice. "Good night, Venom," I said. Izuku's POV. "Waking from my slumber, I got out of bed, went to the shower so I can get ready for school. Sigh. Great, just fan-fucking-tastic." Nobody's POV. When Izuku was finished with the bathroom, he got out and went to the full-view mirror, and what he saw really surprised him. The reason is that he's not scrawny but with well-toned muscles and 8-pack abs. Venom, what did you do?" Izuku said with astonishment. "Well, I decided to change your body during when you were asleep, that way you can finish with your strength training earlier than expected," Venom said with pride. "Wow, thanks. Hey, do you think you can change into my uniform?" Izuku said. "Sure." Then Venom spread himself on Izuku's body to resemble his school uniform. When he was done, Izuku got out of his room and said morning to his mom and ate breakfast and left to go to school. Small time skip to lunch. When Izuku was going to have a seat to eat, his spider sense suddenly alerted him that something was about to happen and dodged a projectile without looking. "Well, that was something," said Izuku. "Hey Deku, what the hell was that?" Izuku heard, when he turned to the sound and realized it was Bakugo, and he did not look happy. "What do you want?" Izuku said while standing up. Bakugo was surprised when Izuku wasn't cowering like he used to, but shook of that thought and said, "What I mean is, how the hell did you do that? Were you lying to me about being quirkless, huh?" When Izuku heard that, he suddenly got angry. Maybe it was Venom helping him, or it's just his emotions getting the better of him. Either way, it doesn't matter. When Izuku said, "Wow, so just because that not too long ago you think I was lying to you about me being quirkless, you must be one hell of bastard and major pain in the ass to come up to that conclusion." But Izuku wasn't done and shouted out something to Bakugo that really made him mad. "You fucking waste of space, I hope no girl ever comes near you, you son of a bitch." "Wow, I'm impressed," Venom said with surprise from his voice. "Deku, you're dead," Bakugo shouted while coming after Izuku. "I'm going to use a scene from Spider-Man so you all can get an idea about it." While the fighting was over, the principal saw fit to send both Izuku and Katsuki to his office and call both of the boys' mothers. In the end, Katsuki got the punishment rather than Izuku, the reason being Izuku got a lot of evidence to close down the school for good. Time skip. It was the end of school and Izuku decided to leave quickly and get home to rest. Location: Izuku's home. When Izuku got home, his mom was there waiting for him. Izuku thought, "Well shit, good luck," Venom said for encouragement. "Izuku, I'm not mad, just a bit concerned," said Inko. "I'm really sorry about what happened at school, Mom," Izuku said. "It's okay, like I said, I'm not mad, but please make sure you don't get in trouble again," said Inko. "Alright, I promise," said Izuku. That's not going to happen at all," Izuku thought. "Anyways, it's getting late and you should get something to eat and go straight to bed," said Inko. "Okay, Mom," said Izuku. After they finished with their conversation, they decided to eat their food and then wash up to go to bed. When Izuku got into his room, he looked around to see nothing but All Might posters and anything related to him, so he decided to remove them and place them in a box so he can sell them. After that was finished, he started to lay down on his bed getting ready to sleep. "Good night, Venom," said Izuku, but he didn't hear any response from his symbiotic friend, thinking he already decided to rest. "Oh well," Izuku said, drifted to sleep. Time skip. 11:55. While Izuku is sleeping, he didn't realize that Venom separated himself from Izuku, that way he can start to form a suit for him. Venom's POV. Sigh. This is the only way for me to form the suit properly. Hope he doesn't panic, but anyways, let's get started. Nobody's POV. Alright, just replace Peter with Izuku and well, you know the suit he will use for this story anyways. Wow, this is something else, Venom, Izuku said with amazement. I'm glad you like it, but need you to practice, so I'll send the techniques and abilities to your mind, okay? Venom said. When Venom said that, Izuku had every single technique the past users for Venom had and know how to activate the abilities as well. While Izuku was sorting out and adjusting, Venom decided that both of them should start do some heroic deeds. When Izuku heard that, he agreed. Izuku looked around and started focusing on his surroundings using his spider sense, combining with a quirk called sonar detection. Finally finding some activity ahead of him, he was ready and jump of the building to be a hero. Time skip. Early morning, when the alarm clock for Izuku's bedroom came alive, he turned it to snooze with the help of Venom's tendril and got out of bed, went to the bathroom to get ready to train since it's a Saturday. Time skip to Dagoba Municipal Beach. Since Izuku thought training to gain more strength can help him, so he thought of a training regime. Start the training montage music, month 1. Izuku started to remove the junk at a quick pace thanks to his strength he got from Venom. Time skip. 2 hours later, Izuku successfully cleaned the whole beach and had a lot of time to spare, so he decided to message Ochako since they haven't talked after the whole slime incident. For the past 10 months, Izuku made a lot of improvements like stopping crimes, escaping from the pro heroes, trying out his new powers and training them, getting to know Ochako better and hearing her going to UA to try and get in the hero course, and not only that but having his very own personal inventor. It happened about 5 months ago. When they met, she was talking about her babies. You know who I am talking about. She also figured out he was the vigilante, but she decided to help him out if he needed, which was a relief for him and Venom. Time skip. To UA entrance exam, Izuku's POV. Well, this it, the journey to change for the better. Well, you are just going to do a written exam, you know, said Venom. Yeah. Let's do this. Nobody's POV. At the entrance of UA, we see Izuku looking at the building thinking about getting this thing over with so he can do vigilante work, but he was interrupted from his thoughts by no other than Katsuki Bakugo. Get out of my way, you useless nerd, or you're dead, Bakugo shouted while walking past Izuku. Geez, that asshole, he thought. Don't worry about him since you'll be able to finish your exam for the general course, Venom said in Izuku's mind. Yeah, you're right. Well, let's do this. However, when Izuku was about to take one step, he somehow tripped on his feet and was about to fall. Well, shit. Izuku cursed, but his face didn't hit the ground, but instead his whole body was floating, and the cause of that is his friend Ochako Uraraka. Since he saved her from that sludge incident, they have been talking since. "Hey Izu," Ochako said with enthusiasm. "Hey Ochako, thanks for saving me from falling in my face," Izuku said while smiling. "Well, it would have been a bad omen anyways. Are you kinda nervous about this? Cause I know I am," said Ochako. "Yeah, I am a bit nervous about it. Oh, did you hear about this vigilante stopping crime or something?" Izuku said. "Yeah, I did. It's really surprising that they still got people doing heroic work when they don't have a license for it," said Ochako. "Yeah, but anyways, we should go or we'll be late. But before that, you think you can deactivate your quirk? I'm feeling a bit lightheaded," Izuku said. "Oh right, release," she said while using both her hands to touch all of her fingers. When that was done, Izuku started to regain his gravity. "Alright, I should probably get to my exam. I'll see you later, okay?" Izuku said. "Yeah, I'll see you later," she said. Then both of them give each other a hug and went to their separate ways to finish their exam. Time skip. When Izuku finally finished his test, he decided to get something to eat, more specifically get Venom some chocolate so he can stop bitching. When that was done, Izuku was going to go home, but before he can even take one step, Venom shouted to him in panic, "Izuku, you need to go to where they're having exams for the hero course." Izuku was confused and was about to say why until his spider sense plus his sonar detection quirk automatically activated, and he knows the reason why, and he got to hurry, so went to a secluded place where there are no cameras to suit up. When that was finished, he started shoot out webs from both of his wrists and preparing to slingshot himself. Once he was ready, he was positioning himself, and then he let go of his webs and propelled fast like a speeding bullet. Not too long, Izuku made it, and using sonar to detect if anyone were trapped thanks to the giant robot. Then he found only one person trapped, which put Izuku in a state of anger. Ochako ankle was trapped under a pile of rumble and the zero-pointer was about to crush her. When Izuku saw this, he slingshot himself towards her, hoping he can make it in tune. Few minutes ago, Ochako was looking up and seeing the zero-pointer's foot, which was about to crush her, and the only thing she can do is close her eyes tight, waiting for the pain. But the only she felt was her injured leg being removed from the concrete rubble and being held bridal style, and when she opened her eyes, she was shocked to see the vigilante Spider-Man saving her and was confused as to what he is doing here. When Izuku rescued Ochako and made sure that both of them were at a safe distance away, he gently placed her on the ground. "You're safe now," Izuku said, then turned his body towards the robot. "Wait, what are going to do?" Ochako shouted, but she didn't get a response. Instead, she saw him running. Izuku's POV. "While I was running towards the big-ass giant, I decided to converse with Venom. Hey V, I need you to give me a boost of strength towards my legs and my right arm. You think you can do that, bud?" "Yeah, sure I can, and show that bucket of bolts how it's done," said Venom. "Alright, I started to feel more power in my legs, so I decided now was the time to jump, and getting ready with my right arm pulsing and swinging with a mighty smash, hitting the robot's head point blank. Nobody's POV. Once the threat was dealt with, Izuku positioned himself and web swinging from the pieces of the broken robot to get to Ochako and the other examinees. When he landed, he got a surprised and shocked faces from Ochako and the others, not only them but the pro heroes and principal, who were shocked to see the most wanted vigilante in their exam and rushed to reprimand him before he escapes. Izuku's POV. When I was about to walk towards Ochako, my spider sense started going bonkers, so I ducked and what looks to be a long scarf passed by me, and when I looked to see who it belongs to, I narrowed my eyes to see the underground hero Eraserhead, and not only him but the other heroes as well, including the principal. "Well, isn't this something? Am I having a party this early? My birthday is only a few months away, you know," I jokingly said, "but I know these guys are serious, so I got to get out of here and fast." "You're under arrest, Spider-Man, for illegally using your quirk without a hero's license, so be logical and surrender," Eraserhead said. Let me think. Nah, then I shoot out my webs on all of the pro heroes and catapult myself before the heroes or the examinees tried to catch me, and to make it hard for I decided to use one of the spider's traits, which is camouflage, and got away. The heroes who removed the webs from them saw how he just vanished and were frustrated about it. After that, recovery girl came and healed the ones who were injured. When that was finished, so was the exams, and everyone started to head out to go home and wait for their results. When Izuku McD sure the cost was clear, he deactivated his camouflage and also his spider suit to be in his school uniform and walked near the gate to wait for Ochako, but he didn't need to wait long and saw her running towards him telling him about Spider-Man coming in saving her from the zero-pointer, and Izuku was just listening, enjoying her presence and the way she smelled really good, and her lips, her voice, everything about her. Izuku just want her. Wait. Why am I thinking these things all of a sudden? He thought, but decided to ignore it for now and talk to Ochako. What Izuku didn't know is that Venom somehow forgot tell him something very important. Oh shit, I fucking hate myself, Venom said, embarrassment and shame. Nobody's pav. When Izuku was thinking about a week ago escaping from the pro heroes at UA, he was at home comforting his symbiotic friend who is panicking. Hey V, what's going on? Well, you know how you suddenly thought about making that girl yours, right? Yeah, I found it very weird, and not only her but I also have this feeling towards May as well. When Venom heard that, he decided to show his face and had a surprised look. Oh fucking hell. When Izuku heard that, he looked at Venom with a confused and suspicious expression on his face. V, what did you do? No response, which proves something was up. Venom. Sigh, alright, well, I may have forgotten about you having a harem. What? Izuku shouted with a surprised look on his face, and he was lucky his mom's not home. Note that Izuku's mom will not be stress eating in my story, and here's a picture of her. What do you mean I'm getting a harem? Well, it's because since you have a lot of stamina thanks to me, I don't think one girl can handle you. Let's just see if there's anyone who needs saving. I don't think I can handle any more surprises, Izuku said, suddenly feeling drained. Yeah, you're right. So who do you think, which girl's boobs are better, Ochako or May? Venom said with a smug voice and look. Izuku suddenly halted his footsteps and blushed crimson. W. What the hell, man? Oh man, you should see your face. Venom laughed out loud. Dude, don't make me ban you from eating chocolate for a week. Venom stopped laughing and had a shocked face. No, anything but that, you monster. Then don't put any naked images of Ochako and May in my head, you got that? Fine. Good, now let's suit up. Copy. When Izuku's suit was up and ready, he locked the front door knowing his mom has a spare key and jumped out of the window and swung from building to building while listening music from his phone. Nice tune. Yeah, it is. While Izuku was swinging, he spotted a car chase and went to intervene. Few minutes later, once taking care of the criminals and escaping the heroes and police, Izuku swung building to building to get back home since there was no crime at the moment. But he spoke too soon when he heard a cry for help and detected 4 large individuals surrounding one person in a dark alleyway, and it wasn't that far, so he swung himself on top of a building where he can see below and saw something that made his blood boil with anger. He saw his friend Ochako, and he was not going to let those bastards get away with it, so he jumped and landed on the side of the building and shooting out his webs on the bastards and dragging them towards him. Adding the Spider-Man clip. When he took down the last guy, he dropped him and looked at Ochako, and she did the same and started walking towards him, but he ran to a corner. Wait, she says, but when she looked, he was gone. She came out and started looking for him, but what she didn't is that he was behind her upside down. Well, this is like the what second time that I got to save you, huh? When Ochako heard that, she turned around and smiled to him. Well, it seems to me that you've been stalking me, she says with playfulness in her voice. Well, I was in the neighborhood. You're really amazing, she says. I don't think the heroes think so, but you are nice to have a fan. Izuku was really happy that he's got a friend like her, plus including May. Well, as a thanks for saving me again, I think a hero deserves an award, Ochako says. When Izuku heard that, he saw Ochako's hands going towards his mask and suddenly said wait. She stopped for a second and then proceeded to only reveal his mouth and nose, and she closed in on the space between them and their lips met. It was full of passion and the both of just wanted to be with other. After about a few seconds their lips parted and Izuku swung himself home, leaving Ochako to smile happily and looking up. When Izuku got home, he was in front of the door without his suit on and turned the knob to see if it was locked. When it was, he sighed in relief and put the key in the doorknob to unlock the door and get inside. Once he got inside, he saw an envelope with the UA's insignia on it. When he grabbed it, he got into his room, sat on his chair and started to open the envelope, and inside was a small disc and it started to activate, showing a holographic image of the principal of UA. Hello, am I mouse, dog, bear? No one knows, but I'm the principal. Dear Mr. Izuku Midoriya, on behalf of the school I would like to congratulate you for having a 98% score on the written exam and would like to welcome you to the general course of UA. Thank you and welcome to your academia. Izuku was proud that he got in, and so was Venom. However, before they can celebrate, their spider sense was tingling and heard. This device will self-destruct in 5 seconds, and Izuku with the help of Venom grabbed the device and threw it out of the open window really far until they heard small boom from the distance. Izuku's POV. I just sighed and laid down on my bed and started to smile thinking about the kiss I got from Ochako. Well, congratulations, you got your first kiss, Venom said. I was still in La La Land thinking nothing can ruin my day now until Venom decided to whack me with his tendrils and saying he wants chocolate, and I told him they're in the desk drawer and he zoomed straight for it and gobbled it up, and I just laughed lightly and relaxing. Sigh, my life's something. Nobody's POV. We see inside the apartment of the two Midoriyas which one happens to be leaving to go to school. Okay, let's see. Books. Check. Stationary equipments. Check. Got on my full uniform. Check. Handkerchief. Check. Well, I'm all set, Izuku said and about to leave, but his mom decided to give him some encouraging words. Izuku, she says. Yeah, Mom, he says while looking at her. I just want to say I'm very proud of you and you look so cool, she said while smiling. Thanks, Mom, I'll see you later, said Izuku waving to his mom and leaving the apartment to get to the train station. Time skip. Location UA High. We see students of different courses walking through the gate of UA, and Izuku, who is approaching the gate, is texting to his friend Mei Hatsume. Izuku. Hey, so are you already in class, Mei? Yep, I sure am. I just can't wait to start making some glorious babies and I hope I get to see you soon, okay? Izuku. YH, I'll see you soon too, Mei. YHC yao, and tell Venom I say hi. Izuku. Will do. After that was finished, Izuku decided to put his phone in his pocket and look for his class. After about a couple of minutes he finally found it and opened the door to get inside. When he got in he saw almost a full classroom and decided to find a seat which was behind of a boy with a face like he hasn't got any sleep, with messy indigo-colored hair that flares out in large tufts around his head. When that same boy looked at Izuku, he decided that maybe this guy needs a friend, so he approached him and said, "Hi, my name is Izuku Midoriya, it's nice to meet you," while stretching out his hand for a handshake, and Izuku the guy was surprised until he goes for the handshake as well. Likewise, the name's Hitoshi Shinso," he said with a bit of confusion and curiosity. When Izuku heard his name he smiled brightly and said, "Well, Shinso-san, I hope we can be good friends since we'll be classmates." When Shinso heard that he shrugged his shoulders and said sure. When Izuku was done he decided to take his seat and waiting for the homeroom teacher. Few minutes later, the teacher opened the door and walked in front of the class and waited for everyone to settle down and have their seats. "Good morning everyone and welcome to the general course. I'll be your homeroom teacher," he says. When the students heard that and looked at him they saw how intimidating he looks since he is the pro-hero Ectoplasm. "Now today we will be introducing each other, so who wants to go first?" Ectoplasm says. And one by one each student introduce him or herself, talking about their likes, dislikes and their quirks. Then it came to Hitoshi Shinso, who was in front of Izuku. When he talked about his likes, dislikes, nobody said anything until he talked about his quirk. "My quirk is called brainwashing." When they heard that they started talking about how that quirk is really villainous and made Shinso a bit mad, so he decided to go back in his seat to cool off. Izuku's POV. When I heard Shinso-san's quirk I was thinking that kind of quirk can really help out on different scenarios against villains, saving lives. When it was my turn to introduce myself I got out of my seat, walked towards the front, then I turned and looked at the students and said, "Hello, my name is Izuku Midoriya and I hope we can get along. My likes are my mom and of two of my close friends. I dislike bullies and people looking down on others, and my quirk is..." I suddenly stopped thinking these people will be the same like in middle school and they were waiting for me to continue, so I decided to go for it, and well, I'm quirkless. There was nothing but silence until I heard a couple of snickers from some of my classmates. I looked around, see in their eyes that they're disgusted, but I kept looking and saw Shinso looking at me with a surprised expression on his face, and I knew that he and I are going to be there for each other. During lunchtime, I decided to try and find a seat not before thanking the cook hero. Lunch rush for the food, so while I was walking I heard a voice, "Izu over here." When I heard that and looked I saw Ochako, but she was not alone. With her were 6 girls each with their own definition of beauty, so I walked towards them and said, Hey Ochako, it's been a while. YH it has. Oh, I want to introduce you to my new friends. Girls, this is Izuku Midoriya, and Izuku, these are Mina Ashido. Sup, Uraraka's friend, she said with a lot of excitement. Next we have Momo Yaoyorozu. Hello, it's very nice to meet, she says while bowing. Next is Suyu Asui. Hello, you can call me Su since you're friends with Uraraka-chan Kiro. Next is Kyoka Jiru. Hey, what's up, she said. And we have Shuyo Todoroki. Sorry if she doesn't respond back. And finally we have Toru Hagakuri. Hi, it's so nice to meet you, she said with a lot of excitement similar to Ashido. Like I said, they have their own definition of beauty. So you want them to, huh? Not helping V. I thought in my head. It's very nice to meet all of you, I said with a smile. Nobody's pav. When Izuku and the girls were talking and finished with the bell rung and it was time for class. It wasn't much, just going for the syllabus for the school and then going home, but before Izuku left he decided to look for Shinso and talk to him. When he saw Shinso, he walked towards him and talked. After about a couple of minutes the two of them hit it off just fine and got each other's contacts. Note: Izuku got the contacts of the girls in 1A, after that they went their separate ways. When Izuku got home, unlocked the door and went inside, knowing his mom will not be home and coming late, he decided to go on patrol. Let's suit up, copy. When Izuku was suited up he opened the window and jumped out to start making name for himself. Sai first day and I got a lot of friends, he thought with smile on his masked face and swinging left and right. Nobody's pav. It's now night time and we see Izuku in his spider suit taking down low-life criminals trying to steal money from a convenience store. After that was finished he went towards the people making sure they were alright, and they suddenly went up to him thanking him saving their lives, and he just said is what a hero will do and gave them back the stolen money and swung away. When Izuku was swinging his sonar detected two individuals down in an alley, so he dived down and landed on the side of the building to see what was going on, and well, he didn't expect a cute girl with blonde-like hair in two messy buns and what looks like a school uniform kill a guy that is 3 times her height with a small knife and smiling happily about it. Izuku thoughts. Okay, that is something Venom. Hee, I like her. Izuku. Really V Venom? Hey, come on, she might need help. Izuku. Okay, I'll see what I can do. When Izuku was done he jumped and landed in front of her and she suddenly ran at him trying to cut him, but he dodges all of her strikes and decided to talk to her. Izuku. Hey, can you please stop trying to stab me so we can talk like normal people? I don't need to talk, all I want is to see you bleed. Ever since I heard about you saving others and stopping crimes, I wondered what it would feel like to be like you. When Izuku heard that he was confused until Venom said she must have personality disorder. Finally having enough, Izuku swatted the knife out of her hands and held both her wrist and pushed her towards the wall. Izuku. V, do you think you can separate a little bit of yourself on her to make her calm down cause she's really struggling? Venom. Yeah, I can that, but under these circumstances you might get second thoughts about this when I'm done. Izuku. Just do it. When Venom heard that he decided to separate a little bit of himself on the crazy girl. After that happened she suddenly stopped struggling and Izuku let her go and asked her. Izuku. Now that you're calm, can you tell me your name? When she looked at him she smiled very brightly and hugged Izuku, and he was shocked and blushing up a storm on his face and shouted. Izuku. V, what the hell did you do? Venom. Bahahaha, I told you, you would have second thoughts. When Izuku was about to shout at him he heard, my name is Toga Himiko. When Izuku heard that he looked down and stared after her cat-like golden-like eyes with a face that looks like a lost puppy, and since he heard her name he decided to do the same and told Venom to remove the mask. Izuku. Well then Toga Himiko, my name is Izuku Midoriya, he said with smile on his face, and Toga just hugged him tightly and he hugged her back. A few minutes later we see Izuku and Toga talking to each other, and since she still have a piece of Venom, both him and Izuku thought of her joining their team. Izuku. Hey Toga. Yeah Izuku. Would you like to join my team? When she heard that she was excited and hugged him saying yes over and over and being daring kissed him on the lips. When that happened Izuku was shocked while Venom was laughing out loud enjoying the situation, but it was interrupted when Venom sensed a hero coming this way. Venom. Izuku, we got to go, there's a hero heading this way. When Izuku heard that he separated himself from Toga while she was upset that they had to cut the kiss short. When Izuku's mask covered his face he grabbed Toga around her waist and shot out a web on a building to get out of here. Once they got out they thought they were safe when suddenly a tape passed by them and Izuku knew who it was and thought in his head. Izuku. V, I need you to create a suit for Toga so she can get out of here and tell her to stay by my place, got it? Venom. Alright, you got it. Izuku stopped himself and told Toga to go. When she was about to refuse she got images going through her head and black goob spreading on her body. When she looked at the suit and heard the instructions to go she webbed from building to building. Izuku's POV. When I saw Toga leave I turned my attention to Eraserhead. So looks like it's just you and me. How are we going to do this? Play rock, paper, scissors to see who gets the first punch? I said in a joking manner. The only thing you'll be doing is going to jail, he says, and started launching his support gear at me and I was dodging, so he decided to try to take me down using close range attacks. However, he was surprised when I easily countered his attacks and I started to go on the offensive while he was defending, then decided back up, but when I did that I saw him using his quirk on me while I was shooting my webs until he was shocked and narrowed his eyes. Eraserhead. Why isn't my quirk not working on you? Shouldn't be able to fire any webs at all. Spider-Man. Well, what can I say, I'm just that awesome. When I said that I shot a web in his face rendering him to see me and I got out of there while turning invisible and web shot to my home. Nobody's POV. After Eraserhead got the web out of his he looked for the Spider-Man, finding him nowhere to be seen, and just sighed. That vigilante is nothing but trouble. When finished that sentence he turned around and swung himself to Ua since the principal would like to hear this. Location. Izuku's home. When Izuku got home he stuck on the side and turned off his invisibility cloak and started looking for Toga. Izuku. Toga, where? He said quietly until he felt a pair of arms over him and he knew that it was her, so he turned around and suddenly got kiss on the lips and he just let it happen. After that happened Izuku climbed inside his open window and Venom removed the suit, so Izuku is in his sleepwear and pulled Toga inside as well, and she also removed the suit and is in her school uniform. Izuku. Okay, we'll have to talk tomorrow morning and tell my mom, okay? Toga. Okay, she said with a lot of excitement, so Izuku went into his closet looking for a shirt for her to wear. When he found it he turned around only to see a naked Toga, and he got to admit he's liking what he's seeing. Her tits were C-cup and her ass is medium size and a slender body, but he just wanted to get this night over with. Izuku. Here, wear this Toga. Oh, how daring, do you want ravish me? She said with a seductive tone, and Izuku just blushed and just went to his bed and laid down to get some sleep. Venom. Sigh, so disappointed in you, partner. Izuku. Shut it, V. Toga just poured and got onto the shirt and got in the sheets to cuddle up next to Izuku and went to sleep. When Izuku saw that she was already asleep he sighed. My life is going to be really something, Izuku thought. Venom. Yeah, and just so you know you need to talk to your mom about this. Izuku. Yeah, and then Izuku went to sleep not knowing him and Venom will be fighting for their lives on the line. Nobody's POV. It's morning and we see Izuku soundlessly sleeping, enjoying the sounds of birds flying by and the shuffling of a person's body laying on top of him. Wait, what? Confusion struck inside Izuku's mind from that thought and woke up to see Toga, but not only that, she was completely naked, and in his mind he was freaking out and Venom was not helping him at all. Venom. Huh, what's with you suddenly getting a boner this early in the morning? Oh, ha 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 ha, you really decided to do it now, are you? You're gonna lose your V card. Ha ha ha, Izuku. It's not funny, V. Venom was still laughing and Izuku just gave up, knowing it will only get more worse, and that was when Toga decided to wake up and stretch out her arms and lead to the sheets coming off, and Izuku was blushing like a tomato. Toga. Yawn, morning Izuku. A good morning, Toga. First of all, why are naked, and second of all, what are doing with your hands near my crotch? Haha, it's going to start soon. Venom. Shut up, V. Izuku thought. Toga. Well, I wanted to be comfortable snuggling with you in bed, and for the second part. She came close to his face and kissed him on the lips, and he was surprised but kissed her back and enjoying the moment until. Izuku. Midoriya, what are you doing? Izuku and Toga were both surprised from the shouting of Izuku's mom and separated from the kiss and give each other space while Venom was whining, saying he didn't get to see more action. Izuku's POV. I was sweating up a lot and looked at my mom and said, Mom, I can explain. Well, you better before you'll be late for school, she said. So I told her how I met Toga cutting out how she killed a guy and the two of us escaping from a pro. When I finished, my mom decided to let Toga stay and sigh in relief, while Toga was very happy and hugged me and I hugged her back. Nobody's POV. Once the two let go of the hug, Izuku's mom told him that breakfast is already prepared and she already eaten hers and decided to freshen up and get ready to go to work and left the two in the room. Venom. Well, that was surprisingly easy, Izuku. Yeah, it was, but anyway, we should get ready. And he did just that by getting out of bed and went to bathroom to freshen up, and few minutes later he got out and was fully dressed thanks to Venom, and looked at Toga, who was coming towards him, and kissed him on the lips, and he let it happen. After that he went in the kitchen to get his breakfast and finishes it fast and was ready to go, but before that. Izuku's thoughts. Toga, I need you to help me out when there are criminals that needs to be taken care of, okay? Okay, you got it, Toga said back, and Izuku went out to go to school. Time skip. Izuku was walking towards his classroom when he thought of going to see Mei and went to the support room. Once he got there and was about to open the door, his spider sense activated and was too late to dodge an explosion and a flying door in pieces. Mei. Izuku, hey, it's been a while, Izuku. Hey Mei, it's nice to see you again. Sorry I haven't texted you, I've been quite busy. Mei. Yeah, I'm sure you have. Ahem, are you going to introduce me to the kid Mei or what? Mei. Oh right, Izuku, this is Powerloader, my homeroom teacher. When Izuku heard that, he got himself up from the ground with Mei holding onto him and walked towards the pro. Izuku. It's nice to meet you, sir. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Powerloader. Yeah, same here. Look, I'm going to go to the principal's office saying they got a meeting, so I want you to watch over Mei for me and make sure she doesn't go overboard, you got it? Izuku. Understood, and he left. That was when Mei decided to get off of Izuku and pulled him inside the workshop. Sue, how's being a vigilante going for you? She said. So far pretty good, and hey, not to be rude or anything, but can you create web shooters for me and might be able to? He didn't get to finish since Mei threw some objects at him, and when he caught them and looked, there were web shooters, and he was surprised and looked back at Mei. Mei. Well, I decided to mimic how Venom uses the webs for you, and finding out the specific biochemistry of a spider was no-brainer, and I put in different types of webs, that way you can take down criminals easily. Izuku was lost for words and just run towards Mei and hugged her, and this made her blushike crazy. Izuku. You're the best, Mei's shocked face. Oh, well, thanks. And he let go of her and told her if she can hack into the school's security. She asked why, and his reason was so he can know what the hero course will do, and looking into the teacher's meeting would help him out. When she heard that, she decided to help him in connecting the school's security to his phone. Once that was finished, Izuku decided to go to class since the bell rung and just kiss Mei on the cheek and left, leaving Mei blushing. Damn it, Izuku, you're making me wanting you more. When Izuku got in his class, he went to his seat and said hi to Shinso, and Shinso waved back. Izuku's Pav. I decided to see what the teachers and the principal are doing, so I plugged in my headphones in my phone and hacked in the camera for the principal's office. Location. Principal's office. While Izuku was looking in through the cameras, the teachers and principal were talking about how to capture Spider-Man, and by chance have him join Ua. Aizawa. I strongly disagree with this. I've seen how he takes down criminals, and he doesn't trust us, specifically heroes. Nedzu. Perhaps, but given how much he has done for the past 10 months or so, the people have seen that he's a hero. Midnight. I'm not sure if this spider fellow should even be considered a hero. Vlad King. I agree with Midnight on this one. Cementos. Same. Snipe. So do I. The other heroes also agreed, and Principal Nedzu sighed and told them that is all, and they left except for All Might in his skinny form. Nedzu. Is there something on your mind, All Might? It's just that there must be a reason why Spider-Man is doing all this and why he hates us, but it's a bit frustrating. Nedzu. Maybe taking a break from Spider-Man will help you out. And All Might nodded and left the office, and that was when Izuku decided to put down his phone and turn it off, and thinking about what the teachers thought of him. Geez, they don't get it at all, and that was when the teacher entered the room to begin a lesson. Time skip. Lunchtime. Izuku is seen with Shinso and Mei, the three of them sitting at a table enjoying their food and conversing about what they have done and talking about the vigilante Spider-Man. Shinso. I would say he's really cool, saving others even though it's illegal, but he's doing the right thing and I respect that. Mei. I agree, he is doing so much for the people, even taken down small-time criminals. When Izuku was hearing this, he was glad he met them, but he was suddenly surprised when someone put their arms around him. Hey Izuku. When Izuku heard the person's voice, he turned his head and saw it was Ochako along with the rest of the girls of 1A, including a tall boy with a serious look on his face wearing square-like glasses. Izuku smiled at Ochako and got out of his seat to look at them. Izuku. Hey Ochako, it's been a while and it's nice to you guys again. And Izuku walked towards the tall spectacle guy and put out his hand. Izuku. We haven't been introduced. My name is Izuku Midoriya. It's very nice to meet you. Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. My name is Tenya Iida, the class president of Class 1A, and I hope as fellow students of UA we will do the best of our abilities to make this school great. He said it in a robotic kind of way. When Izuku heard that, he along with Mei, Shinso and Venom thought, what the hell, this guy is so serious. Izuku. Yeah, same here. When Izuku was done with that, Mei and Shinso introduced themselves to them and they did the same. After that, all of decided to sit together to talk and enjoying each other's company, the girls talking about girl stuff plus Mei talking about her babies and Shinso and Iida talking Spider-Man. Izuku was just so happy having more friends and maybe even taking to the next level with the girls on front of him. Izuku just stopped and started blushing, relieved that no one saw him. Izuku. Venom, what the hell? Venom. Hahaha, you're starting to have it, partner. Your sex drive is plus those dangerous hormones of yours. I'm so proud of you. Izuku. Why you? But Izuku didn't get to finish since the security alarms went off. Every student were panicking and trying to leave. While that was happening, Izuku thought something wasn't right and decided to stay back and investigate whole using sonar detection. He found someone that looked suspicious and ran towards the room. Few minutes later, when Izuku got there, he kicked the door and saw a man in a hoodie holding some sort of documents. Not wasting any time, Izuku tries to rush him, but the hooded man dodged and escaped through some sort of portal and left. Izuku. What the hell? Izuku decided to look around and saw that the pieces of the documents were left back, and he saw that the villains was looking at some sort of schedule for Class 1A at a location. USJ. Not wanting any more time, Izuku got out of the room and decided to head back to class, but he was stopped in his tracks and being dragged into the boys' bathroom by Shinso and another guy who has a small stature. Izuku. Shinso, is there a reason why you dragged me in the boys' bathroom, and also who is this? Shinso. Well, I have my reasons, and to who this is, his name is Minoru Mineta. Mineta. You. Hi. Izuku was just looking at him thinking about what the girls said about them having a pervert in their class, and Izuku guessed that it was him. Venom. He might help us. Izuku. What do you mean V? Venom. I mean him plus Shinso, Mei and also Toga can help us take down criminals easily. Even though we can do it by ourselves, it takes time. Izuku. You might be right, but are you sure you want me to tell the guys that were you know who? Venom. Well, yeah, I mean it's better to tell them now than later, you know. Izuku. Sigh, fine. When Izuku was done with his conversation with Venom, he focused on what Shinso was about to say. Shinso. Izuku, we may not have known each other for a long time, but I still consider you a friend, and I want to know something. Are you the vigilante Spider-Man? When Izuku heard that him, Venom and Mineta were shocked. Izuku. How did you figure it out? Shinso. When Iida and I were talking about Spider-Man, you were listening very closely and thought we weren't looking. When Shinso said that, Izuku was really impressed, and that's when Mineta decided to talk. Mineta. Why, you're really Spider-Man. He said it with pure excitement, and Izuku just nodded his head. Izuku. Yeah, but now that you two know my secret, you can't tell anyone. Shinso. But I just out of curiosity, who else knows your secret? Izuku. Well, there's you two and Mei and also a girl that's staying at my place. Shinso. Wow, okay, what about that girl Ochako, does she know? Izuku. No, she doesn't, and I need to keep it that way for a while. Mineta. Seriously, you got a chick at your place, is she hot? When Izuku was about to scold him until Venom decided to show himself. When Shinso and Mineta saw him, they were a bit scared because of how he looked, but thanks to him sharing Izuku's memories and his own through his tendrils, they both understood and decided to talk more about this later and left the bathroom to go to their class. Izuku's paw. After that revealed of mine and Venom's secret, I decided to check on the security for this USJ thing since I heard from Mineta that they will be leaving for some sort of rescue training. Nobody's paw. When Izuku saw that there was some interference with the system, he decided to quickly use sonar detection and boost it towards USJ, and something inside of him snapped and told Venom to telepathy tell Toga to go towards USJ and give her the location, and she has to hurry, and also tell Shinso he needs to go. When Venom dodged just that, Izuku looked and saw the teacher wasn't there, and that was his cue to leave the class, and quickly turned invisible while shifting in his spider suit and saw an open window and jumped out of it, and using even more strength slingshot himself to get there quickly. Few minutes later, we see Izuku and he is not happy at all. He swung towards the building that was USJ and went above the building. Venom. Izuku, I know you're pissed right now, be you? Izuku. Soon we're going to use that form. Venom. Are you sure? Venom didn't get an answer since Izuku slingshot himself towards the building. Guess there might be some blood spilled. Location. Inside USJ. Everything looked like a war zone. 2 of the teachers are injured and some of the students are fighting low-class villains. One of them escaped to get the other pro-heroes, the rest are trying to help one of the teachers. While that was happening, a man covered in hands rushed towards 2 of the Class 1A students. Tsuyu Asui and Minoru Mineta. Behind him is a man covered in mist and in a bartender-like suit, and the other is a hulking figure with its brain exposed and has a large beak with teeth holding down Eraserhead. When the hand guy touched Sue's face, he was a bit shocked and then turned towards the teacher. You're really a cool hero, Eraserhead. And the bird villain smashed his head to disrupt his quirk, and just when the hand was about to use his quirk again, there was a large sound from above them and they heard a loud, "Get away from them, you asshole." And the next thing, the hand's man got hit by a quick punch to the chest, and Eraserhead was released from the clutches of the beast and was safely laid next to the 2 students. The 2 were both grateful that their teacher got out and looked at Spider-Man, and when looked back at them he told them to get out of here, saying he will hold them off. Sue. But it's too dangerous and you're going to be outnumbered, Ribbit. But she felt a hand on her shoulder and looked down to Mineta. Mineta. It's better to do what he says, we'll only be getting in his way. And Sue was having second thoughts and listened, and the 2 got out with their teacher with them. And since Izuku wasn't wasting any time, he suddenly jumped in the air and used Venom's tendrils to snatch every last villain and put them in some sort of ball with his webs. Izuku. Now I'm really pissed off and you 3 are just in my line of sight. But all Izuku got was a maniacal laugh from the hands guy. Well, you're only going to have to deal with only Numu, and since All Might isn't here, I think it's best to kill you. Careful, Tamura Shigaraki, we shouldn't underestimate him. Shigaraki. You're right, Kurogiri, so Numu kill him. And the beast did just that and roared and launched itself at Izuku, and that was when Izuku decided it was time, since he hasn't seen Toga yet. Izuku. It's time to put on a show, you ready? Venom. Born ready, partner. When Numu tried to punch Izuku, he just put out his arm and caught the punch, which caused a shockwave, and Izuku just looked at him and he started to change his form. Venom. Izuku. Eyes, lungs and a very large brain, I guess this is my lucky day. When Shigaraki and Kurogiri saw that, they were shocked, and not only them but some of the students and the other villains, and thought, what is he? Venom. Izuku. Well, it's time to get this part started. And Venom punched back at Numu and pushed him away, and both Izuku and Venom were ready and rushed towards, and it did the same, fists ready and the combat to begin. Nobody's paw. We see Izuku in his second form of Venom punching and dodging the Nomu and giving it his all. Venom. Izuku. Geez, this guy is really tough, it seems like he's not even going down at all. Shigaraki. Well, what do expect, Nomu has shock absorption. Venom. Izuku. Wow, thanks for the tip, you asshat. And Izuku dodged a punch and went behind the Nomu to do a German suplex. The students who saw that were beyond shocked to know that this vigilante have the strength similar to All Might that can take that beast down. At the top of the stairs, the students were glad to see Sue and Mineta with their sensei okay, but then they decided to look at the fight to see what's going. After the smoke cleared, they saw what horrified them. And Ochako was scared that she'll lose Spider-Man, even though she doesn't know who's behind the mask, and suddenly her legs moved and used her quirk to get there quickly, and her friends were trying to stop her. Izuku's paw. Damn it, I forgot about that dude with the warp quirk, and this thing is really giving me a lot of pain. Hey V, what's going on? Can't you help me with the healing? Venom. Sorry, since I'm helping you with the fight I can't focus on the healing, we've got to get out of this thing's grip and fast. Nobody's paw. Shigaraki. Ha 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 ha, it's useless. Nomu was designed to kill All Might. Kurogiri, you know what to do. Kurogiri. Yes, Tamura Shigaraki. And Kurogiri started to sink Izuku inside the portal and closing it in to tear him in half. Izuku. Damn it. But then ice was suddenly formed on the Nomu and a loud "die" was heard and Kurogiri was pinned by Bakugo. Shigaraki was about to rescue him but he had to dodge from a punch by Kirishima. Kirishima. Dang, I almost had him. Izuku saw and felt that he can get out now and broke out of the Nomu's grasp and went a bit towards Shuyo Todoroki to regenerate a bit and looked at her with his large white eyes with that large grin. Venom. Izuku. We appreciate your help but it's dangerous to be near this thing. Shuyo. It would seem you needed help. Kirishima. Yeah man, and we'll hold these guys off until the heroes gets here. Izuku was astonished by the two and he was glad, however, when he looked at Bakugo his anger was going out of control but he was controlling it for now. Venom. Izuku. Very well, if you want to help us we won't stop you. Finished with what he said he looked back at Shigaraki and what he saw shocked him, Venom and the others. Shigaraki. Nomu. After he said that the Nomu sunk into the portal, got out and removed itself from the ice leading to its arm, leg and a bit of its torso ripped off and instantly healing itself. That shocked Izuku and Venom was a bit skeptical about this. Venom. Izuku. We thought his quirk was shock absorption. Shigaraki. Nomu has more than that but hyper-regeneration and speed and strength like quirks as well. When the four heard that they were shocked to know that this thing has multiple quirks. Shigaraki was looking straight at Bakugo and told Nomu to get Kurogiri free and the monster did just that and went for a punch towards Bakugo but he was suddenly by Kirishima. Kirishima. Whoa dude, how did you get here that quick? Bakugo. Shut it, that wasn't me and I know I couldn't have got out of there in time. The reason is because Izuku put more strength in his legs to get there fast and moved Bakugo out of the way and blocked the punch. Venom. Izuku. We've had enough of this. And he punched back at the Nomu and got ready to get even serious. Izuku. Ready v. Venom. Born ready, let's get wild. And they both rushed towards Nomu ready to punch and the Nomu did the same. The three students were blown away a bit including the two villains. Shigaraki. It's useless, he has shock absorption, it doesn't matter how many times you hit him, you have no chance of beating him at all. Venom. Izuku. He has shock absorption not nullification, you jackass, which means there's a limit to how much it takes. And both Izuku and Venom did a mighty roar and punched the Nomu towards the trees. Venom. Izuku. Let's see what you got, big guy. And the Nomu stopped itself and ran towards him and tried to punch him but Izuku blocked and grabbed his arm and put more strength in his arms and. Venom. Izuku. Well, let's use that school's motto. Go beyond plus u u u u u u u u u l l l l l l l t t t t t r r r a a a a. And the Nomu was flying straight to the roof and went flying through the clouds. The villains were beyond shocked and started to panic. Their objective was to kill All Might. Knew without Nomu they can't, and it was thanks to this vigilante. Shigaraki. Why, yo, you cheated. Nomu was the main boss to take down All Might, damn it. Kurogiri. Shigaraki, calm down, we can still take him down, it must have taken a lot out of him to just fighting Nomu. When he heard that he suddenly smiled. Shigaraki. You're right. But what the two don't know is that Izuku was still okay thanks to Venom, so he got ready, but that didn't happen since he heard his vigilante name and looked up to see Ochako in the air, and not only him but the two villains saw her, and Kurogiri used his quirk to make a portal in front of her along with Shigaraki putting his hand in it to disintegrate her. Izuku was shocked, scared and angry and was about to stop them, but then a gunshot was heard and he looked and saw that Shigaraki was holding his hand, and he knew who did that but wasn't going to waste any time. Instead he jumped towards Ochako still in his second form and caught her and landed on the ground, gently putting her down. When she looked at him she had curiosity in her eyes, but Izuku was just focusing on the villains and his spider sense was going wild knowing that more heroes have arrived. Iida. Everyone, your class president have brought in the heroes. But the heroes and the principal saw that things were a bit under control, seeing that most of the villains were trapped, but they were shocked to see some sort of black large creature close to one of the students and also two villains who were clearly the ones behind this, and got ready. Izuku saw that the villains were about to leave and he was not having that and rushed towards them, but he blocked by none other than All Might. Izuku. You idiot, get out of the way. Izuku tried to bypass him but it was too late. The villains got away but at least one of them were unable to walk for a while. However, he was still pissed at All Might since he was the reason why and the other heroes surrounded him. Izuku and the heroes were about to brawl until Ochako, Sue and Mineta stepped in saying he was the only one to save them and if it weren't for him some of them would have died, but instead Izuku got blast from present mic and the sound was really causing Venom and Izuku to go night. Venom Izuku. Osteo OOPPPPIIIIIIIIIITTTTT. Ochako. What are doing, you're hurting him. Sue. Please stop Kiro. Mineta. He doesn't deserve this. And their pleads were answered but not by the heroes, it was by another spider-themed vigilante. Toga. Sorry I am late for the party Spidey. And she shot out her webs towards present Mike face to stop his quirk and landed close to Venom. Toga. My now this is something you should use this form more often and sorry about reaching late, had to take care of some criminal P-rocks on the way. Venom Izuku. Don't worry about it, what's important is that you're here. They said with fatigue in their voice. Toga looked at them with concern but focused more on how to get out of here and thought of something that just might work. Toga. Hey Venom, can you hear me? Not long until she heard his voice. Venom. Yeah, I can hear you, what do you need? Toga. I need to be able to turn invisible, can you do that and turn Izuku invisible as well if he can't do it now? Venom. Yeah sure. Once that was done she looked at the heroes with a smile on her face. Toga. Well, it's been fun but me and Spidey got to bounce, so bye. And she and Venom turned invisible, shocking the heroes, and tried to capture but they were not there and they sighed with frustration. After that happened, the police were there to arrest the villains and also the paramedics to make sure all were okay. While the heroes were discussing about the incident, 5 students were thinking about Spider-Man. Bakugo, Shuyo, Sue, Ochako. Who are you behind that mask, Spider-Man? Mineta. Izuku, I hope you're okay. The others were also curious on how Spider-Man knew what was going to happen, and so were the heroes and who was the girl in the spider suit. Meanwhile Toga is at Izuku's house with him without his spider suit on, laying down on his with her on top of him. Izuku. Toga, even though I'm okay I really should rest. Toga. Yeah, that's not happening anytime sooner, big boy. Izuku just laughed and covered both her and him with the covers to rest. When he went to sleep Venom was a bit disappointed. Venom. That was a bit anticlimactic, sigh, and I thought they would have been fucking like rabbits or something. Nobody's paw. It was past midnight and Izuku and Toga are sound asleep cuddling each other while they were naked, but Venom had other plans and decided to contact Izuku's friends that might help him and Toga with breaking the rules, so he went towards Izuku's phone and checked his chatroom and adding the 3 people that can help them. Web Warriors. Venom. Hey, it's your friend Symbiote, if you all are awake tell me. He waited for a few seconds until he got a reply from Shinso, Mei and Mineta. Shinso. It's past midnight, why are you waking us up now? Mei. I'm still awake since I've been busy inventing my babies, but seriously, why texting us now? Mineta. Yeah, I want to know why. Venom. The reason is that I want you all to come over to Izuku's house since you know our secret. Shinso. Alright, I'll be there. Mei. Same for me. Mineta. I'll be there too. Venom. I'll send you the address and come at the place around 10 since his mom will be leaving early to go to work. Shinso, Mei, Mineta. Alright, well, see y'all later. And the Venom turned off Izuku's phone and went to bed to sleep, knowing soon things are going to be different. Time skip. Morning. It's morning and we see Izuku waking up from his slumber and getting out of bed to stretch. When he was done he checked the time, seeing it's 9:45 a.m. and knowing that he doesn't have any school today decided to get some clothes on, which are some shorts and a plain t-shirt. When he was done he looked towards Toga, who decided to wake up too. Izuku. Morning, he said while walking towards her, and seeing that she wanted to be picked up decided to do that. Toga. Morning, and she kissed him and he did the same. After that she used a bit of Venom to shift into sewing clothes to wear, and both her and Izuku went to the kitchen to see what Izuku's mom did for breakfast, but only saw that she wasn't there. But Izuku saw a note on the fridge saying that she had to leave a little early to get to work, and he just shrugged his shoulders and went in the fridge to get milk, decided to get cereal for both him and Toga. After they finished with their breakfast they decided to watch some TV since there weren't any criminal activity yet. When they heard the doorbell, Izuku got out of the couch to open the door and was surprised to see Shinso, Mei and Mineta. Izuku. Hey guys, what are you all doing here? Shinso. Venom said something about a meeting here. I was sure that he would have told you already. Izuku. Well, he didn't. And Venom decided to show himself. Venom. I think it's better to discuss why told I you three to come. And they nodded their heads and Izuku let them in. When they got in, they took off their shoes and walked towards the living room where Toga is watching TV. All of them sat down around the table to begin. Venom. Well, now that everyone is here, I would like to announce that you three are chosen to join our little team. When they heard that, they some expressed faces. Mineta was shocked, Mei was excited, and Shinso had a blank look, but on the inside he was really excited, knowing that he might have a chance to become a hero even if it's illegal. Venom. I know that this may cause you some serious repercussions, but Izuku and I see a lot of potential in you three, including Toga, and we just want to help with that. All the teens were surprised. Even Izuku was shocked to hear that, since Venom was with him for more than 10 months, but he guessed that he doesn't know a lot about his symbiotic friend. After what Venom said, the three thought about it and agreed to join the team. Izuku was happy that his friends are helping, and Toga is excited to make new friends. Venom decided to use his tendrils to give the three techniques from martial arts that suit them: mastery to stealth, espionage, weaponry, and amplifying their quirks. Since he decided to look them up. Once that was done, he told them that sometime later all of them will train with the knowledge they have, and Mei decided to speak, saying she got a basement by her place with lots of rooms since she uses it to make inventions, and all of them agreed and decided to talk and enjoy themselves. After about a few hours they decided to go and said their goodbyes, with Mei decided to be bold and kiss Izuku right on the lips, putting him in a stuttering mess, having the others laughing. After they left, Izuku and Toga decided to go on patrol. During the day both of them stopped small-time criminals and even taking down dangerous villains, drug dealers, stopping rapes and escaping from the heroes. They've done this until it started to get dark, but decided to go on a tall building and look at the stars. Izuku. It's really nice, he said without his mask on. Toga. Yeah, it really is, she said without her mask on, and she came close to Izuku to rest on his shoulders to enjoy his warmth. Toga. Hey Izuku. Izuku. Toga. Thanks, Izuku. For what? Toga. For helping me and not tossing me from not knowing what I am. I really appreciate it, and if weren't for you and I might been the same psychopath who just enjoys killing, so thank you for being there and also being a friend to me, she said with passion, and looked up to Izuku and leaned to kiss him, and he kissed back, knowing she really needed it. Venom. Aw, that's nice. Once they parted they smiled at each other, and Venom decided to join in, and all of them looked up at the stars and Izuku and Toga holding each other's hands. Nobody's paw. During the free time, Izuku, Mei, Shinso and Mineta had they decided to train, including Toga, to get a better idea on how to utilize their quirks. Mei, Shinso and Mineta finding out their quirks evolved made them a bit excited. Info. Name. Hitoshi Shinso. Quirk. Brainwashing. Intro. This quirk can help the user control anyone as long he or she doesn't have a strong will. It works when the user have to ask a question randomly. Drawback. Can only work for 4 people at a time. Going over will lead to slightly painful headaches. Now his quirk can help him brainwash more than 4 people and he won't have any headaches. Info number 2. Name. Mei Hatsume. Quirk. Zoom. Intro. Her quirk helps her see clearly about 5 kilometers away. Drawback. Past that can lead to temporary blindness. Not sure if that's her drawback. Now her quirk is able to let her see more than 100 miles, maybe even more, and this can help her if her babies are malfunctioning. She can find out how. Info number 3. Name. Minoru Mineta. Quirk. Pop off. Intro. He has round balls on his that can be easily removed from him and grows back on his head and can be stick on any surface besides him, and the more it stick is how he feels. Drawback. If he removes too much he will bleed from his scalp. Now Mineta's evolution towards his quirk depends on his training. His quirk will allow him to create any kind of weapon from his hairballs. Don't get the wrong idea, expressionless. He won't have any drawback, and thanks to Venom his perverted self is down by a lot and can focus more intently. Let's add in Toga's info. Name. Toga Hamiko. Quirk. Transform. Intro. Her quirk allows to transform into any person and imitate his or her voice, even the person's quirk, as long she ingests blood. Intro 2. With the help of Venom she is able to create herself a spider suit of her own. Her abilities is the same as Izuku's. Time skip. Back at school. We see the four teens walking and talking about how they can train and help each other, but once they got through the gate they went to their class. Minetta's paw. I walked towards my class and opened the door to get in and took my seat. That was when Tenya decided to tell us to have our seats, but we were already in out seats, which lead him to be frustrated and took his seat. I was listening to the others conversing about the USJ incident, but suddenly I started thinking about my amplified quirk, knowing that I can now create any kind of weapon I want, but then I was suddenly touched on the shoulder, and when I turned I saw that it was Kaminari, a fellow pervert like me, but that much. Kaminari. Hey man, I heard that you tried to defend the spider. I just looked at him and just nodded, but then the others decided to come and join in. Mina. Whoa, really? Then you must have seen how scary he was with that suit of his, right? She said it with excitement. Toru. Yeah, well, did you? Said it with same excitement like Mina. I just nodded my head, and they found it confusing, and not in my them but almost all of my classmates find it weird that I haven't done anything perverted yet. Kaminari. Hey man, are alright? Yeah, I'm fine, why wouldn't I be? I said with confusion. Hiroshima decided to come and said since I just do something that can cause me to get a lecture, but seeing I'm so calm he finds it surprising, and the others agreed. I just said since the incident I decided to do something different, that's all I said, and the others bought it and went to their seat talking about who will be teaching us. Not too long our teacher Mr. Aizawa came inside, but he was covered like a mummy. My classmates were shocked, but sensei decided to tell everyone to be quiet and telling us about the sports festival. Everyone including me were excited, but some of them asked if it's too soon to do the festival, but sensei said it's tradition like the Olympics and making sure the villains don't know that they're weak. After he told us we got 2 weeks off to train, which I was grateful for. He told us to get ready for class. After class was finished I heard that the class are pumped, so I decided to leave, but was stopped by Kaminari telling me we should hang out, saying there's some cute girls we can find, but I just said no, which shocked him and everyone else, and I just continued towards the door and opened, but it was blocked by pretty much most of the year 1 students. Why are you all doing here? I asked them, but Bakugo decided to tell me. Bakugo. They're scouting the competition because we're the students who got attacked by villains. When he was done he looked at them and told them to beat it extra. Tenya told him that's no way to treat someone if you don't know their name. I only came to see who we're up against, and when I look at you I'm a bit disappointed. The person who said that made me smile since it was Shinso alongside Izuku, so I went up to them and greeted, and they did the same while Izuku greeted Ochako and Tenya, and they did the same. Nobody's paw. Bakugo was pissed to see Izuku thought that the principal would have expelled him, but he just walked past him, we bumping shoulders, and went on his way. Izuku ignored that and decided to tell Shinso and Mineta to let's go and said goodbye to his 2 friends, but when he was about to go he suddenly got stares from not only Ochako but the majority of all the girls in the class and other girls in different class courses. Venom was laughing at his partner's misfortune and Izuku knew he had to go, so he grabbed both Shinso and Mineta by the arms and left towards the gate of the school along with Mei, who joined in. During the 2 weeks until the sports festival the 4 of them including Toga were training at Mei's place, mastering their abilities, working together, helping each other and enjoying each other's presence. While the training helped and it showed through, but Venom decided to speed it up and used his tendrils to shoot at both Shinso and Mineta. Since Mei is physically good he didn't need to, but when Venkum saw that they were ready he removed his tendrils and Mei, Izuku and Toga were shocked to see the results. Shinso looks like this. And Mineta suddenly has a growth in height and increase in muscles which makes him look lean like. When they decided to finish, Mei suddenly brought out if Shinso and Izuku had a petition. They looked at one another and looked back at Mei and said yes. She sighed in relief and told them she will create suits for her, Shinso and Mineta as vigilantes, and a hero suit for Mineta since he can't fit in his old one, and make some inventions for Shinso and Izuku. The 2 weeks were almost up, but before that Izuku was seen swinging in spider suit and saw down below one of Ochako's classmates, Kyoka Jiro, being pushed around by 3 punks, and he intervened by shooting webs in their faces and punched them, and since there weren't any civilians plus heroes he was okay for now and turned towards the girl. When he got a good look at her, he found her quite cute, but he just put that thought behind in his mind and talked to her. Izuku. Well, I'm glad I made it in time and hope that you're alright. Jiro. Why, yeah, I'm okay, thanks, for saving me. She stuttered, whole blushing a deep crimson and fidgeting. Izuku. Well, if you're okay, I best be on my way. When he was going to slingshot himself, he felt movement on his back, and knowing who it was but with a late reaction got slingshot, and the both were seen flying, where one is trying to calm down the other who is screaming. After a few minutes and on a building, Jiro calmed down and apologized. Izuku just said it's okay and was about to go again, but Jiro decided to stop him and walk towards him and ask if he can give her his phone number, which put him in shock and decided to do it. After that, he waved goodbye to her while giving her a kiss on the cheek and swung away, leaving her in a blushing mess while smiling brightly. Note: Izuku has 2 phones just in case. Time skip. Today's the day for the sports festival. A lot of people are seen sitting and some heroes are out as security, and vendors everywhere selling food and drinks. Izuku's paw. I'm just relaxing, trying to focus, and that's when I see Mei, Shinso and also Mineta smiling at me. Knowing how this will go, I went to them and put out my hand, and they did the same. Let's show them what we're capable of. Shinso. Yeah. Mei. You got it. Mineta. All right. And then we heard present mic from the large speaker, and it was a good thing me and V aren't affected by that anymore thanks to the training, and the 4 of us decided to stick together and stay quiet. After announcing the courses of the first years, the pro hero, Midnight, got on the platform to call out Bakugo, and what he said really made me want to punch him, saying he'll win and be in first place and calling us stepping stones. After that, it was announced that the first event will be obstacle course. And I got ready to put on the gloves Mei made, and with the help of V enhanced it along with the boots. It was similar to Shinso as well, but his was made to gain kinetic energy to give him an extra boost. While the countdown was started, Venom said good luck, and I thanked him. Once the countdown reached 0, all hell broke loose, and I smiled and with determination, let the games begin and let's get wild. Nobody's paw. All students of different courses are seen running towards the tunnel and trying to get through, but some of them were stuck in ice by Shuyo Todoroki, who was in the lead, but she wasn't the only one. Some of the 1A students got out of tunnel and going on pursuit. Bakugo. You think that'll stop me? Half and half. But suddenly 4 blurs passed by them and were shocked to see Mineta and his changed appearance, but not only him but Shinso, Mei and Izuku. These 4 were in the lead. Mike. And it seems we got ourselves a competition, betting 4 students, 2 from the general class, 1 from the support and 1 from. Hey Aizawa, is he your student? Aizawa. I'm surprised he changed that much in just a few weeks, but yeah, he is. That's Minoru Mineta. Mike. Thanks for the info, my man, and it looks like these 4 will be reaching the first obstacle. And he was right, since the 4 saw lots of robots in front of them and were in a rush, so they quickly ran towards them and jumped really high. With Mineta, he used his quirk on his legs to give him a boost. Mei created boots that can make her jump really high, Shinso with his kinetic boots and Izuku with his enhanced boots, and passed the robots and went to the second obstacle. I'm gonna skip this part and just say Izuku is first, and Mei, Shinso and Mineta all came in second, Shuyo came in third, and Bakugo fourth. Now it was time for the second event, and it was the cavalry battle, and Izuku being targeted because he has 10 million points, and since he and the others decided to do it together, they chose to stick together as a team and brainstorming a plan to get ready. About a few minutes and they were ready. Izuku on top with the points on his forehead along with the other points around his neck, with Mineta in the front, quirk ready, Shinso and Mei at the back. Once the signal went off, the war zone began. Izuku's paw. Once I heard the signal, I told my team to hang on since I saw other people coming after us, and using the jetpack I got from Mei, I pushed the button to get it started, and all of us were trusted up in the air, avoiding students from getting the headband. I told Mineta to create a shield and told Shinso and Mei to keep a lookout, but we all heard a loud shout. Bakugo. Give me that headband, you quirkless Deku. But he didn't get close since his explosions were blocked by Mineta's shield and he was falling, but he got back to his team courtesy of Zero. But we still had more problems from the other teams, but we dodged them with effort and had to land back on the ground. But that was when ice was suddenly formed to our path thanks to Shuyo with Momo, Iida and Ochako. Shuyo. I'll be taking that headband now. And I just give her a smirk and said, I like to see you try. And they were running towards us really quickly thanks to Ochako's quirk, but they had stop and dodge purple shurikens from Mineta, which got them surprised, not knowing he can do that, which gave us enough time to try and get out. But suddenly my team were encased in ice from their feet, and Shoyo's team were coming towards us, and Shinso suddenly thought of using his glove's hand into a fist and punch the ice with all his strength, and it did work and got us out. Nobody's paw. The spectators were cheering really loudly seeing the team with Izuku giving it their all, and some pro heroes were really interested into having them as an intern. However, there was one hero that was shocked to see the same boy he turned down, and that was Toshinori Yagi, and seeing him win the first event he knew that he was the one and was going to talk to him soon, but was thinking of what to say. Seeing that the ice broke, Izuku quickly thought of a way to try and get away, but he had dodged a surprise attack from Shoyo's team. The reason was because of Tenya's speed, but he wasn't fast enough since Izuku's spider sense pick out when they were about to come, and thanks to do that he still have the headband on his forehead. Tenya, I'm sorry we didn't get the chance to get the headband. Shuyo, don't worry about it, we'll make sure to get the 10 million. Yaoyorozu, I need you to create long poles for us, we're going to get in close, and Uraraka, if you still have the strength, make us weightless, she said with frustration on her face. After that she said that she used her ice on Tenya's exhaust pipes to cool it down so they won't be slowed down, and rushed towards Izuku's team, and once they got close she tried to grabbing for his forehead, but he dodged, and suddenly her left arm was on fire, indicating she was about to fire close range, but Izuku, with quick thinking, using the gloves it extended to his forearm giving him strength, he swiped away the flames, resulting a strong breeze, and that left her in shock that she just broke her bow, and was enough time for them to get out of there. But Shoyo's team were on pursuit, but they weren't the only ones. Up in the sky a loud explosion was heard, and it was Bakugo. Damn it, Deku, that 10 million's mine. The two opposing teams were close to Izuku, but him and his team were still in one place since they heard from Present Mike that there are a few seconds until it's over, and right on time the cavalry battle was over. Present Mike announced the teams going to the third event: first place Team Midoriya, second place Team Todoroki, third place Team Bakugo, and fourth place Team Tetsu. After announcing the teams, they were giving a break to get something to eat, and that was when Shuyo decided to walk towards Izuku and tell him she needs to talk and follow her. The two of them were at a secluded place where they can talk, but Izuku was just waiting for her to say something. Izuku. Sue, is there a reason why you wanted to talk to me? Venom. Maybe she found out about you and wants your seed. Izuku. V, don't sprout out bullshit right now, you hear? Shuyo. I was overwhelmed. Izuku was confused when he heard that, but he let her continue. Shuyo. It's because of you I broke my vow. The others who were close didn't fell, but I did. The power you have is much similar to All Might. Izuku was shocked to hear that, but he was even more shocked when he heard. Shuyo. Midoriya, are you All Might's secret love child or something? And she said with a straight face, and the only thing Izuku did was shout aloud. Izuku. EHHHHHHHHHHHHH. And Venom was just laughing, seeing how his partner is going to get out of this one. Nobody's paw. We see Izuku freaking out because of what Shuyo said, and Venom was just laughing, and Izuku was trying not to show annoyance on his face towards Venom. Izuku. Shuyo, I'm not All Might's secret love child. Once he said that, she realized she was mistaken and just continued with what she wanted to say next, telling him what is quirk marriage and that she's the result of one and why she doesn't want to use her left side and the reason to it. After that she decided to go, but not before she heard Izuku said, Shuyo, if you really want to win then don't hold back. When she heard that, she just left, leaving Izuku alone to think of the matches ahead, but he wasn't the only one there. Bakugo was hiding, listening to everything they said. A small time skip. It was time for 1v1 round. Mike. AAAAAALLLLLLL, right, are you all ready? Eraserhead. Do you have to shout? It was now time for the first round and everyone were excited to see who will win. Mike. Now let's start with the first round. In this corner the 1WHO made it in first place in the obstacle and cavalry event in class general, Izuku Midoriya. And the audience were cheering really loud, and Izuku was just focusing and ready for action. Mike. And on the other corner the 1WHO looks like he's ready for to release from his cage. Guys, it up for Hitoshi Shinso. And Shinso walked on the platform adjusting his gloves while looking at Izuku. Shinso. Well, Midoriya, you ready? Izuku. I was born ready. Midnight walked towards them telling about the rules and regulations, and since they already okay with using inventions from May, they were good to go. Midnight. Alright, the match between Izuku Midoriya versus Hitoshi Shinso begin. And once they heard that, the both of them looked at each other smiling and ran towards and tried to punch each other, but blocking every time, and once separate they were in different martial arts, Shinso using Krav Maga and Izuku using Taekwondo. In the stands, we see Mineta and Mei along with the 1A students sitting and watching the match. Mineta: "Hey Mei, who do you think is going to win?" Mei: "Not sure, it could be Izuku with the you-know-who with him or Shinso with the gloves and boots by his side, but it depends on their strategy." The two of them were focusing on the fight and seeing their friends showing of their skills put a smile on their face. While the two were talking, the girls minus Shuyo in 1A are teasing Ochako cause of her crushes. "Ochako, I told you guys is not like that," she said, blushing crazy hole looking at the match. Mina: "Oh really, cause it seems to us that not only do you have a crush on your friend Midori but you have a crush on Spider-Man," she said quietly so only the girls can hear. Ochako was trying to focus but she was in La La Land thinking about Spider-Man and Izuku, and she wasn't their only one. Jiro was also in La La Land thinking about Spidey. On the battlefield, both Izuku and Shinso are seen throwing fist after fist. When Shinso uses his speed and go for punch, Izuku blocks. When he does it, Shinso blocks too. Izuku went for a leg sweep. Shinso jumped and raised his fist towards Izuku, who dodges in the last second, which resulted the concrete blocks to shatter, showing a giant spider-like crater. Izuku: "Geez, this is getting a bit tiresome." Venom: "Then why haven't you finished already?" Izuku: "I wanted to wait a little longer. Anyways, I need you coat only around my upper body for me." Venom: "No problem." Once that was down, Izuku decided to finish this and ran to Shinso with his speed, throwing punch after punch while Shinso did the same, almost matching his speed, each blow creating shockwaves after shockwaves, getting the audience and also the students, but Shinso was getting pushed back and having enough of it. Shinso: "Come on Midoriya, is this all you can do?" He didn't get a response, but he did got a judo throw which resulted him to get out of the ring. After that happened, Midnight announced that Izuku is going to the next round and the spectators are cheering. Izuku's paw: "Hearing their cheer made me happy, but I decided to see if Shinso needed help, so I walked towards him and put out my hand for him to grab, and when he looked he grabbed it while having a smile on his face. I pulled him up and smiled too." Shinso: "Well, guess I'll be on my way," he said while walking to the entrance, but stopped for split second and turned his head to see me looking right back. Shinso: "Make sure you show them what a real hero can do." And I nodded, knowing I heard the message, and Shinso took his leave and I did the same. Up in the stands, Mina: "Wow, those two were awesome." Momo: "I agree." And the others did the same, but the only one who didn't was Katsuki, and he hated how Izuku didn't lose. Me and Venom were talking about the upcoming matches and breaking down ways to finish quickly, but then I was stopped by someone who I didn't want to see at all. Toshinori: "Hey there, young Midoriya." It was All Might in his small form waving at me, thinking I'm his friend. I just looked at him with an emotionless face and said, "What do you want?" Toshinori: "I just wanted to say my congrats on the win, and it shows that you have what it takes." I just looked at him with disgust. "So you're saying now that you've seen what I can do, you think I'm going to be buddy-buddy with you and forget what you told me 10 months ago? Then you must be really something, huh?" I said it with venom in my voice, and Toshinori was feeling guilty because it was his fault, but he thought of another way and called out me before I had to leave. Toshinori: "Wait, 10 months ago I told you I had an offer for you, and it was me offering you my quirk." I just felt like shutting down and turned to him with confusion. "Nobody's paw." Toshinori: "My quirk is not mine, it was given to me by someone and was cultivated from the past generations, and I want you to be my successor." He said it like Izuku was going to be blown away from this, but he just showed anger. Izuku: "So you were previously quirkless, huh?" He said it with resentment. And Toshinori can only stay quiet, and Izuku knew he found his answer. Izuku: "Listen, All Might, cause I'm only going to say this once, you're nothing but a joke to me and a hypocrite." Once he said that, he left, leaving Toshinori there with a regretful look. Izuku went to where the students are sitting and saw his friends, and when they saw him they congratulated him. Some of the guys in 1A- Bakugo told him that was awesome, while the girls minus Shuyo went for a hug, putting Izuku in a blushing frenzy. After that he took his seat where Mei and Mineta are and waiting for the next match. After the match was finished it was Mineta's turn. Mineta: "Well, wish me luck." Izuku: "Do your best out there." Shinsi: "We're rooting for you." Mei: "Yeah, do your best and good luck." All of them giving Mineta a thumbs up, and he did the same, going down towards the stage ready and thinking of a strategy. Mike: Alright, now it's time for the next round. We have the girl that looks like an assassin in Class 1B Abara Shiozaki versus the one with sudden growth spurt in Class 1A Minoru Mineta. Now let's. Abara. Excuse me, sorry of the interruption, but what do you mean by assassin? I only came here in search of victory, not to take my opponent's life. That won't be in value of a hero, sir. Mike. Right, I'm sorry. Abara. Gentlemen, I didn't enter UA for winning or for selfish reason, but to deliver salvation to others. It's my humble quest to spread good across the world. She said it while there was light shining on her like she was some sort of angel. Up in stands Venomised giving Izuku dirty thoughts on the girls of 1A and 1B, and he was not happy. Mike. Listen, I said I was sorry, okay, it was my bad. Anyways, let's have this match. Start. Mineta was ready, having a bit of his hair in his hand, thinking of a way to win while looking at his opponent who was clasping her hands. Mineta. Okay, to me her quirk involves her hair, so I need to be close. Just focus on what you want to create and make it sharp. Mineta had to dodge because Abara used her quirk to launch multiple vines at him, making it a bit difficult. When he landed on a safe spot, he didn't realize that one of her vines was there and tried to restrain him, but he quickly got of there and distanced himself, focusing more on the weapon he wants. In the stands the guys in 1A were thinking Mineta won't make it, but he proved them wrong by creating a long sword that looks like it can cut through the toughest steel with handle and sheath in purple, and sliced all the vines coming his way. The audience were mesmerized seeing Mineta's by the way he uses his sword. Abara was shocked and tried to fire more of her vines, but she couldn't because she felt a sword close to her neck. And looked at her opponent only to see eyes of a killer. Mineta. Do you surrender? And she just raised her hands indicating she surrendered, and Midnight announced Mineta the winner. He released her and put his sword in his sheath. And looked at her saying it was a great match, showing his smile, and she smiled back, finding herself okay. She left and he did the same. Next was match. Izuku, Shinso and Mineta just sighed, knowing that was what Mei wanted the whole time. 5th match, 6th match, 7th match, 8th match. Up in the stands Izuku was shaking and Shinso and the others saw his veins popping on his forehead. He was mad and Venom was trying to calm him down, but Mei reached him by touching his hand and gilding it firmly, making him calm down, and since it was his turn to go down he got out of seat and went down to the entrance, but before that he heard crying coming from one of the rooms, and since he still got time he went in and saw Ochako. Izuku's paw. I saw her crying and I did the only thing and walked towards her and hugged her. She was surprised, but knowing it was me she hugged back once she calmed down and wiped away her tears, telling her she did amazing. Ochako. Thanks Izu, that means a lot to me. I was just looking at her, seeing that cute face of hers, those beautiful brown eyes and her lips made me remember our first kiss. I suddenly hugged her tighter and I leaned my head towards hers. Ochako. Izuku, what are yo? She didn't get to finish since I was kissing her right on the lips. She was shocked, trying to pull back, but she kissed back, enjoying the taste, and I did as well. After a few seconds we let go, catching our breath and looking at each other's eyes. Ochako. Izu IW, wah. But she didn't get to finish. The reason was because I had to go to stage and I told her we'll talk later, and I gave her a kiss and left with her blushing crazy. I walked until I see the entrance, but I was blocked by none other than number 2 hero. Endeavor, the most arrogant asshole I had to deal with as Spider-Man. So much times Venom wanted to show this guy how weak he was. Nobody's paw. Izuku. Endeavor. Oh, it's you. I just want to say you did an amazing job, but know this, my daughter will be the number 1 hero to surpass All Might himself. She's my main project, so don't disgrace yourself, and sorry that He did get to finish since he looked at my eyes. Izuku. Venom. Your daughter isn't some tool and she is not you, so watch what you say. And Izuku left, leaving Endeavor shaking. Mike. Alright, it's time for the second round. We have the one that from the general course Izuku Midoriya versus from the hero course Shuyo Todoroki. Izuku was adjusting his gloves and telling V to expand it all the way to his forearm and give him protection. Venom. Which part for your upper body, or maybe? Gasped Izuku. Are you really going to it here? Haha, you dirty boy. Izuku. I swear to God you're going to get it. Izuku started focusing on Shuyo, a strategy in mind, hoping it will work. Mike. Alright, let the second round of the first match begin. Nobody's paw. It was time for the match to begin, and Shuyo started off by sending ice towards Izuku, but he was in a stance with his hand out and flicked the ice back at her, making her getting dragged back to the end, but her ice helped her stop, She did another ice attack but Izuku just flicked it off by just using a strong wind pressure. She did again and Izuku just flicked it away but Shuyo created an ice ramp to get close to him and came down creating ice but Izuku dodged it but it started to crawl towards his foot and using his strength more in his fist punched the ice causing massive winds blowing around everyone. Shuyo. I must say that punch was even stronger than the rest and seeing the look my old man is giving really helps. Izuku was looking at her knowing there's got to be a limit for her and her saw her arm shivering and he decided to see if he was right on something but before that she produced a large chunk of ice firing at him and it made him mad. Izuku. Where do you think you're looking? And he blowed off the ice making her push back being surprised by what she saw and what he said next. Izuku. You're shivering there's a limit to how much you can produce your ice and it's giving you frostbite why don't use your left side? Shuyo. Did my father put you through this now I am mad. And she ran towards him but very sluggish and Izuku seeing that ran towards her dodging ice projectiles and punched her in the stomach. Izuku. You haven't given a single bruise you better give me your full power and stop using only half your strength. Shuyo. Why are you going so far to do this? I told you I won't use his power. Izuku. It's your power not his. When she heard that a spark lit inside of her and remembering what her mom said to her she can be her own hero can't remember the scene for that. Her left side was in flames and this gave Izuku a smile on his face. Shuyo. Why are you smiling you're really crazy just to help your opponent but as thanks let's give the audience a show. She said it with smile on her face. And both of them were ready in stance to deal with their finishing blow have the pros, students, teachers and even everyone who was watching on TV. Izuku. V get ready for a major heatwave. Venom. It's a good thing we're heat resistant bitch let's get wild. Using his full power Izuku and Venom were in sync and made a giant leap towards her. Smentos saw the danger and used his quirk since the two might damage themselves and Midnight was also ready to knock them out but the wind was giving her trouble. Izuku. Got to get close. Shuyo. Midoriya thank you. Once that was over there was steam and was very hard to see if both of Izuku and Shuyo lost or either one of them are going to the next round but when steam subsided and what everyone saw was Shuyo Todoroki out of bounds and Izuku Midoriya shirtless and still standing and making most of the females blush. Midnight who was trying to control herself announced Izuku the winner and going to the semifinals making everyone cheering including his friends. Izuku's paw. I was just looking at Shuyo in her unconscious state and walked to her, putting her in my arms bridal style and walking to the infirmary where Recovery Girl is. Time skip. After taking her to Recovery Girl I walked to where all the first year students will be with a shirt on I came and saw my friends and the other 1A students congratulating me and I smiled and took my seat waiting for the next match until Mineta came towards me. Mineta. Hey Izuku. I looked at him seeing the changes and him showing his skills made me happy and looking at the weapon he still has on made me wonder but I'll think on it later. Izuku. Hey Mineta I guess your match is next. Mineta. Yeah and I'm sure I'm up against Iida, got any advice? I thought about it and told through his ears to make nobody heard, be quick. When he heard that he nodded his head and got out to the waiting room and so did Iida. Nobody's paw. Now it was time for the match between Mineta and Iida both of them ready to give it their all. Mike. Alright it's time for two of 1A's STUDNETS against each other, the battle between Minoru Mineta vs Tenya Iida ready. Start. Mineta's paw. Hearing the signal I got my sword ready. And rushed after Iida knowing him he will finish this. Quickly and was using his quirk and the move he used. During the cavalry battle he rushed behind trying to push me out but in last second I turned and shifted my sword into a gauntlet and using quick movements punched him in the chest which made him stop and gave me enough time to use my quirk and create chains towards him to make him stay in place and this made everyone surprised even my teacher was shocked to see my improvement in just a short time and this led to me being the winner and going to the semifinals after I released Iida formed the chains he congratulated me and we shook on it and left go to the others. When I got there I looked at Izuku, Mei and Shinso giving me a thumbs up even the guys in 1A were congratulating me and I was happy and took my seat. Nobody's paw. While Izuku and his friends were talking he didn't get to see Bakugo leaving since he will have his battle soon. Bakugo. I don't know how but he isn't going to win against me he's nothing but a pebble in my path and I'll make sure of it. He said it with malicious intent, and when he was about to leave he saw Ochako looking at Izuku and he thought of something that will make Izuku know where he stands. Small time skip. It was time for the next match. After that it was the match for Bakugo vs Kirishima. Now it was the semifinals, 3 of them in the hero course and 1 in the general course. The first semifinal round is Izuku against Mineta, and both of them were in the waiting room until they were ready. Izuku's POV. I was just waiting and strategizing about how to finish this match with every possible scenario, but that had to wait since I heard a knock on the door, and when I opened it I was suddenly pushed back and person came to me and their lips on mine while closing the door. I was shocked and Venom was laughing and the person kissing was Ochako, and I kissed her back enjoying the moment until the door opened again, which caught me and Ochako by surprise, and the person who came in was Mei, and when she saw us she just smiled and towards us and then put her lips on mine, putting Ochako in a state of shock. Nobody's POV. After that happened Ochako wanted to know, so Mei decided to tell her she has feeling for Izuku and loves him. Ochako thought that since she has the same feelings towards Izuku she wanted to be with him, so both the girls decided to share him and they shook on it, leaving Izuku out of it, and just gave him a kiss on both of his cheeks, and they left leaving him and Venom in the room, and that was when it was time to go to the stage. Now we see Izuku and Mineta facing each other, gloves and sword ready for action. Mike. Alright, now for the first semifinals match between Minoru Mineta and Izuku Midoriya. Ready. Begin. Both of them rushed at each other, Mineta using his unsheathed his sword to morph into twin gauntlets and punching Izuku, who was now blocking his attacks, and then Izuku found an opening and punched Mineta double in the chin and chest, pushing him back and advancing, but he had to dodge from chains Mineta created at the last second, and using his speed he dodged almost all of Mineta's swings, doing flips and sidesteps to get away. When Mineta knew that wasn't going to work he stopped his chain and turned it back into his sword and put it back in his sheath. Izuku saw this and looked at Mineta with confusion, and what he said made everyone shocked, even his classmates. Mineta. I forfeit. And everyone, even Izuku and Venom, did aloud. And since he said it, the winner was Izuku, who walked towards Mineta. Izuku. Dude, why did you forfeit? I know you had something to at least throw me off, so why? Mineta just at him and said, because I want you to be part of my class. When Izuku heard that he was shocked, even Mineta wanted him to be part of the class. Before that Shinso also said the same thing and he just smiled, and both of them shook each other's hands and left to go, but before Izuku left he heard the spectators talking about the match, and seeing that he didn't use his quirk, not knowing that Izuku doesn't have one to begin with. Next it was the final semifinal round between Bakugo and Tokiyami. Now that the semifinals were finished it was time the finals, and Izuku was ready to go and his friends were giving him a good luck with Mei kissing his cheek, and so did Ochako. When Izuku left he wondered where Iida was, but he think about that later. When he was in the waiting room getting his mind to calm down he was interrupted by Bakugo. Bakugo. Oi, what the hell are you doing in my, oh shit, this is wrong room. He said it with rage, and then he looked at Izuku with an arrogant smirk on his face and walked towards him. Bakugo. Hey Deku. Izuku's POV. Hey Deku. That name, the one that I was labeled ever since kindergarten up until junior high. Hearing it from his voice made my blood boil, and when he put his hand on my shoulder I felt the burning. Good thing these helping. I kept quiet and just listened. You know, I'm surprised. I thought that the principal would have expelled you now, but here you are, a quirkless nobody who thinks he's something special. Bakugo said with hatred that Izuku was here. Seeing him winning against Todoroki put him in state of shock and anger, but when he let go of my shoulder and was about to leave he said something that really pissed me off. Bakugo. Oh yeah, here's something you should know, just forfeit the match so you won't get embarrassed from everyone, and know that I don't want near Uraraka, she's mine. And he closed the door laughing. And I just sat there. My anger was really getting to me and Venom was about to calm me down, but I heard it was time for the match. I got up and walked with an emotionless face, but inside my anger, hatred, distaste towards Bakugo. I'll show him that he isn't top dog and break his fucking pride. Small time skip. It was time me against Bakugo. I'm not going to back down and I'll never will. The both of us are facing towards one another, him with his smirk and me in my stance for speed and strength. Bakugo. Huh, you're not going to forfeit, you quirkless Deku. When he said that the spectators were shocked, seeing that what I did during the matches thought that I had a quirk. They were suddenly pitying me, and hearing some of the low-level pro heroes saying why I'm Inua made me sick, but I just kept quiet, trying to control my anger and waiting for the signal to begin. Somewhere in a bar, we see the hand man Shigaraki watching the sports festival. Shigaraki. Oh, my first time a quirkless ever came to that school, but he does have skill. What do you think, master? When he said that, he looked at a screen with just audio on it. I would say he seems promising. With the right push he might join us. Make sure you keep an eye on him, Shigaraki. Shigaraki. Yeah, master. Back to the stage, we see Venom, who was a bit concerned for Izuku heard beeping and saw that it were the gloves and boots. Venom. Izuku, there's some sort of beeping on the gloves and boots. Izuku. We'll worry about that later. Then present mic announced for the match to begin. Nobody's paw. Bakugo came rushing using his explosion and tried to blast Izuku, but he dodged and Izuku came in close and punched him in the gut, putting space between them. Bakugo was mad, thought threatening him would have worked, but it didn't. However, he thought of something that just might work. Bakugo. Hey Deku, you think you're so special, you're nothing, and when I am done with you. The next thing he said made Izuku plus Venom got really angry, and the beeping on the gloves and boots going rapidly, and Bakugo said it with malice. Bakugo. I'm going to enjoy Ochako a lot, like the slut she is. And Izuku finally snapped and came rushing at Bakugo and punched in the chest, making some of ribs break, and pushed him back. Bakugo was shocked when he looked into Izuku's eyes, and what he saw was pure rage. Up in the stands, Mei was worried seeing the state Izuku's made her babies go in rage mode, and Shinso, Mineta, Ochako and everyone of the class, even the teachers and principal, were shocked to see a sudden change from Izuku. The gloves on his arms started to spread all to his shoulders, and boots covered most of his legs. His hands were claws, and he suddenly had a face mask that only covered his mouth and nose, and his eyes were changed color. The green emerald-like eyes were now dark ruby red, and look he was showing was of hatred. Izuku was just looking at Bakugo, and then he spoke, which brought out chills. Izuku, Venom. You fucked up big time, Bakugo, and now you'll see what I am capable of. And Izuku was ready along with Venom to put Bakugo in his place. Nobody's paw. Izuku was in pure rage looking at his target, the one person who was responsible for his rage, and he was ready to put him in his place. Bakugo was shocked about the new change in Izuku, and he was livid, getting beaten down those way by him, a quirkless nobody, and in his rage he said something that almost risked his life. Bakugo. So you got this from that pink-haired slut, huh? No wonder you wore it. He didn't get to finish since he got punched in the face by Izuku's fist and was sent towards the white line, but he used his explosion to fire below himself to get himself in the safe zone. But Izuku wasn't done. He raced after him and gave him a drop kick to the back of his head, making him drop on the ground hard. Izuku. You know, when we were young I looked up to, thinking after I got my quirk we could have been great heroes, chuckling. Guess not having quirk meant getting beaten by you. And Izuku put his foot hard on Bakugo's head. Izuku. 10 years I had to deal with your bullshit, suffering from the other kids and you getting special treatment from all the teachers. It really made me sick, but now you feel the pain I had to go through. And Izuku raised his foot and kicked him in the ribs, making some of them crack and causing Bakugo to scream, but Izuku ignored it and raised him up by holding his collar with one hand and punched him in the gut repeatedly. Izuku's paw. I was really enjoying this, the pain he's feeling, he deserves it, but I couldn't finish him since my hand was caught by a whip from Midnight, and I just looked at her knowing she's feeling uneasy. In fact everyone is, and seeing Bakugo almost getting unconscious I said one more thing. Nobody's paw. Izuku. You lost, and it's because of someone with no quirk. After he said that, he let go of Bakugo and walked out, not hearing that he won. He just wanted to get things over with. Venom. Hey Izuku, you okay? Izuku. Yeah, I'm fine, later I'll give you some chocolate, okay? Venom was happy but was still concerned about Izuku, but left for later. When Izuku got to the stands he saw some of the students with uneasy looks. Some showed anger, mainly the boys in 1A except Mineta and Iida, since he left early, and the looks from the girls were looks of concern towards him, hearing about what Bakugo did to him. Izuku just went to empty seat where he can be alone, and his friends understood his intention and left. Time skip. It was the time to end the sports festival and to give the medals to the students. In third place, sharing it between Fumikage Tokiyami and Minoru Mineta. In second place is Katsuki Bakugo, who's chained after hearing he lost to Izuku. And finally we have Izuku Midoriya, who is crossing arms and showing no emotion after hearing some of the spectators and pro heroes talking about him in a negative way. He just wanted to get this over with. Midnight announced that All Might will be giving out the medals, which made Izuku's eye twitch with annoyance. All Might. I am here giving the medals to the students. When he got to Tokiyami and Mineta, he put the bronze medals on their necks and congratulate their work. Next was Bakugo, and he was not happy, saying he doesn't want the medal and refused to believe he lost to someone that's quirkless, and All Might was having difficulty putting the medal on for him, so he put in his mouth, and finally it was Izuku's turn and All Might put on the medal around his neck, and Izuku just put out his hand and All Might shook it saying he was proud, but Izuku just nodded after that. It was the end with a shout of plus ultra from the spectators and a "you did a good job" from All Might, ruining the chant. Time skip. Location: Principal's office. We see Izuku sitting in front of Principal Nedzu. Principal Nedzu. Well, Mr. Midoriya, you're wondering why I called you. Izuku. Is it something about me winning the sports festival? Principal Nedzu. You are correct. The reason I brought you in is because of your performance in the festival. The way you showed them your skills even without using a quirk showed me that you have what it takes to be in the hero course. Principal Nedzu was showing the respect Izuku deserves. And Izuku was just bowing his head thanking him. Principal Nedzu. It's alright, you don't have to bow your head. I've already decided to put you in Class 1A, and I understand that Mr. Bakugo has done things to you that's strictly against the moral code to the school, so I will look into that, and also I have informed the teachers of my decision, so when school opens go to Class 1A. Izuku nodded to him and thanked him, knowing it was time for him to leave. He got out of the office and out of the school towards the gates. He was enjoying himself when he got a call from Mei through his earpiece, and going to a secluded place he answered her. Izuku. Hey Mei, what's up? Mei. Hey, just wondering if you can come by my place, we need to discuss some stuff. Izuku. Okay, I'll be there soon. And he ended the call and started walking. Time skip. Location: Mei's house. We see Izuku going inside Mei's house and going down the basement to see her, Shinso and Mineta training, but the difference is that both Mineta and Shinso have on their suits to do vigilante work. Mineta's suit. His suit makes it easier for preventing damage to himself. Shinso's suit. The suit is flexible and strong. Izuku was glad in seeing Mei on the computer. He figured that she will be the one to find out big criminal activities towards villains. Izuku. Hey guys. And they all stopped what they were doing and went to him, giving him a hug and congratulations towards winning the sports festival. Izuku. Well, I'm glad I won, and it was thanks to all of you and the reason why I'm now in Class 1A. Hearing that they were happy, especially Mineta for having his friend there with him. Shinso. So now that we're all here, how about we do some patrol? Izuku. Sounds like a plan. I'll contact Toga so she'll be with us. Mineta. Yeah, sure. Mei. I'll stay here knowing there will be crimes. I'll let you guys know quick. Izuku. You got it. And after that, the boys who were in their vigilante suits are seen up on a building observing, and not long came Toga swinging towards them and landed close to Izuku and closing the distance between them, giving each other a kiss. Shinso. Alright, we know you're gaining a harem and all, but can you do that after we finish our patrol? He and Mineta were trying not to look and focusing. Izuku and Toga released their kiss and understood why they were uncomfortable and decided to finish later, but for now they got ready to jump into action, seeing a car chase. Izuku. May we need you to find the route where the cops are chasing the car. And he got a okay from her, and Izuku looked at his friends. Izuku. Are you guys ready? Shinso. Born ready. Mineta. You bet, using his quirk to forming a grappling hook. Toga. Yeah, let's show them what we got. Izuku nodded, and Venom decided to show himself. Venom. Team Venomised is ready. Izuku. Team Venomised. Venom. Of course, cause this all started was because you decided to accept us. Izuku. That's true. All four of them heard Mei called where the criminals will be, and they jumped off the building, getting to their location by swinging, knowing they will have each other's back. Nobody's paw. See the four vigilantes taken down two crooks from a car chase and trying them up. Izuku. Well, great job on your first job as a vigilante, you two. Shinso. Yeah, thanks, it was great using the techniques on the field. Mineta. You're right on that one, it feels really awesome. And Toga was nodding, agreeing to what they said. Izuku was happy and was about to say something until his spider sense warned him something's coming, and saw three heroes who were in Izuku hates list: Kamui Woods, Mount Lady and Death Arms. And seeing as they saw them, Izuku shouted they got company and decided to split up to get back to base, and they did just that. Toga decided to use her camouflage to escape while Izuku, Shinso and Mineta took different routes, and the heroes split up as well. Mount Lady went after Shinso, Kamui Woods went after Mineta, and finally Death Arms went after Izuku, but the heroes don't know that they won't be able to catch them. Shinso vs Mount Lady. Shinso's POV. I ran towards places that will have small places for the hero to transform, but she wasn't giving up, so I stopped and waited for her, and when I saw her, she ran towards me going for punch to my face, but I dodged and came behind her and chopping her by the neck, making her unconscious and placing her on the ground, and left to get to the base. Mineta vs Kamui Woods. Mineta's POV. I'm dodging this hero's branches left and right and trying to use my quirk quick, but he won't let me. Kamui. Your days of vigilante is over, you fiend. I just ignored him and suddenly jumped on the walls and did the same on the next wall, rapidly doing this to confuse him while I used my quirk to create a whip and fling it at him and putting unable to move and also unable to use his quirk. Once I got closer, I tightened the whip and knocked him out. Once releasing him, I put my whip on the side of my waist and got out of there to go to the base. Izuku, Spider-Man vs Death Arms. Izuku's POV. I'm here punching this hero and he's blocking, but I got a couple of good punches at him, but I had to block his punches as well, knowing him he's more suitable using mainly his fist and not his brain. Death Arms. You're going to jail for the misuse of your quirk once I'm done with you. I just dodged and jumped on the wall sticking to it and just laughed. Izuku. You may be a hero, but you're really stupid to think you can take me on. That made him mad and I jumped off the wall and shot my webs at him, mainly his arms and his legs, restraining him from moving. He was struggling but knew that he can't get out of it and I just left. After a while I used the earpiece to communicate with the others and found out they made out and are in the base. I just kept swinging until I heard a large sound coming from a bank, and it appears that some crooks are going to have their teeth break soon, so I swung towards the building and crawled inside. I just looked at them stuffing money in their bags. Mostly all of them were men wearing masks to conceal their face, but there was a white-haired woman there wearing a black skin-tight suit showing her curves with fur on the side of her forearms and around her collar, adding the black mask showing her blue eyes. I was mesmerized, but I had to stay focused and shot out webs towards the crooks. Nobody's POV. Izuku. Well, now this is something. But Izuku had to dodge a claw from slicing him and turned to see the woman. Well, if it isn't the spider. Izuku. Yeah, and I'm here to stop you unless you want you nails to get cut. Well now. And she just walked towards him while he just suddenly stepped back and he hit a wall, trapping him with the white-haired chick, and she was really close to him. So what are you going to do now? Arrest me? She said it with a flirtatious tone, making Izuku nervous, and Venkum was just sighing at his partner's misfortune. But he didn't get the chance to answer since the police came in and that was her time to leave by using a grappling hook, and went through an escape route, leaving Izuku with the cops who were pointing their guns at him. Cop number 1. Freeze, you're under arrest, Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Yeah, well, I love to stick around and chat with you, but I got to chase down a crook. And he webbed all the cops in the face and also webbed their hands to prevent from shooting him, and got away from the bank and swung himself on a top building, and using 2 quirks courtesy of Venom, which are sonar and zoom, which he got from May and search. Once he pinpointed her location, he jumped and face dive. With enough time he shot out his webs and swung building to building. Izuku's POV. I got close to her and then shot out my webs, grabbing her and putting her on the ground, holding her arms to prevent clawing me. Alright, now you're going to jail, but first I need to know who you are, I said. And she just looked at me with a smile that can cause trouble, and she just came closer. You can just call me Black Cat. And then she kneed me hard in the gut when I lost focus and got out of the web. Black Cat. Let's meet soon, Spider. And she was gone, leaving me holding my stomach, and I just sighed, thinking I should just go back to the base, but then I heard a sound from 2 of my phones, and when I looked at the messages I freaked. May's message. I saw what happened through the cameras at the bank, you better be here soon. Ochako's message. Hey Izuku, I was wondering if you want to go on a date soon. And finally Kyoka's message from my other phone. Hey Spidey, just wondering if you're not busy, maybe you want to hang out at my place. And I was going blank. Venom. Dude, here's my advice, go with the flow. Izuku. That's not helpful. But I just agreed and said to May I'll be there soon. Next I told Ochako we'll go on a date next Saturday and HMSHE said okay, and with Kyoka I said I'll hang out with, and that's when she gave me her address and saying her parents won't be home for 2 days, which kinda made me felt uneasy, but I just shrugged it off and swung to May's place. Location: May's place. I was at May's place down the basement seeing Toga and May looking at me with annoyance on their face while Shinso and Mineta are praying for my life. May: well, I saw how you were hesitating, so what was that about? Toga: yeah, you better have a reason, otherwise you're getting a punishment. I was just sweating and just said something Venom told me through my mind. I told them how she had the upper hand with distracting me and they believed me for now, and that was the time I told them I got to go somewhere to meet one of the girls in class 1A, making Mineta ask who, and just said it was Jiro and he was surprised and I left them to go. Using my camouflage I swung building to building and found the house where Kyoka lived and went to the window where I saw her on her bed writing something in a book. I deactivating my camouflage and knocked on her window. Once she looked and saw me, I just waved at her and she went to the window, opened it and let me in. Nobody's pav. Spider-Man: hey there, I just wanted to stop by to see one of my fans. He said it while looking at Jiro, who was trying to hold in her excitement to see him in her room. And Izuku was looking around seeing posters of popular singers, their band name and seeing many instruments. Spider-Man: so I take it you're a musician, huh? He said with a teasing tone, making her blush. Kyoka: well, yeah, I do play most of them. It's because I have parents who are also musicians and I really enjoy playing and singing. Izuku just nodded and smiled under his mask, finding her quite cute about her hobby, and just rested on her bed and asked her if she could play a song for him, and she quickly agreed. Going through the book Izuku saw her writing, found a song. Kyoka: this is something I've been working on for you, but I don't have the lyrics yet, so you'll just have to listen to the melody. And Izuku just nodded, waiting to hear it, and so did Venom, and when Kyoka got her guitar she started to play. Once it was done, both Izuku and Venom were beyond shocked to hear her voice. It was beautiful and the way she played it was amazing. Izuku: that was awesome. When she heard that she blushed and said thanks while twirling one of her earlobe jacks. She then looked at Izuku with curiosity on her face. Kyoka: so arranged by you going to show me who you are? Izuku: I'm not sure. Are you going to report the authorities of who I am? He said while squinting his mask large lenses, and that made rethink her question, but she had to wait since all times have to come to an end, and Izuku had to go since he didn't want worry his mom and told Kyoka he had to go, making her nod in understanding. When got out of the window and was about to swing away, Kyoka decided to be bold and told to wait. When he did and turned around to face her, he saw her hands going to his mask, lifting it to reveal only his mouth and nose, and then kissed him on the lips, making Izuku shocked, but he kissed her back, tasting her lips, and the both of them enjoying it for about 30 seconds until they had to release to catch their breath. Izuku with his mouth smiled at her, leaving her blushing to see his charming smile. Izuku: I'll see you later, just know the spectacular Spider-Man will always be there to lend a helping hand. And he slingshot himself out, and after that Kyoka went to lay down on her bed and looking the song she made, noticing there wasn't any title. She suddenly thought of one thanks to her hero and wrote it down. Then she went to bed smiling and dreaming of her hero. On the page the title says, The Spectacular Spider-Man. Izuku's POV. It was time to go back to school, which means going to a different class course, the hero course. To me this was my dream from the beginning, and now it's come true, but I'm not the same kid that was always being picked on. I'm different, making friends, creating a team with them, having a relationship with more than one girl is surprising, but I'll get through with it and to make sure I can be the hero I was meant to be with help of my friends. Venom: you know I love you and all, but you got to keep down the dialogue a bit. Oh ha ha ha, I said to him, but I decided to focus on walking towards Ua and going to my new class. It was not long after I made it to the door that looks really big, and I opened it to see the faces of all the Class 1A students talking, but when they saw me, some of them came walking towards me asking me how I was amazing during the sports festival and congratulating me, and that was when Ochako came and gave me a hug, making the others shocked. But what was even more shocking is when their literal ice queen Shuyo Todoroki came and hugged my arm, incoming it between her breast, and that made Ochako glared at her and Shuyo just gave her an emotionless stare, and the tension made it very uncomfortable. So I had to do something, but I didn't need, since the teacher showed himself and told everyone to sit down. Aizawa: Now that you're all quiet, I have an announcement. We have a student who is here from the general class to be in the class 1A since he won the sports festival and the principal agreeing he will be joining us. And that made most of them looking at me, but I was focused on what the teacher will say next. But I had to look at one of the students, Tenya Iida, after hearing about his brother getting attacked from the hero killer. I was mad. Not being able to save him made me sick in my stomach, and I had to find that psychopath before he kills any more heroes. But Aizawa sensei said something about having hero names which made some of them excited, and that was when Midnight sensei came in, since she will check to see which names are better suited for us and giving us a black drawing board and a marker to put our hero names. One by one each student said their hero names and some of them explaining why they chose it. Next was Mineta's turn, and the others were wondering what name he will choose, and what he wrote was this: Mineta, the weapon hero. Mininja and Midnight approved, and the others did as well. Now it was my turn. I walked towards the front of the class, and my hero that I chose might reveal my secret identity. Venom. Are you sure you want to pick that name? Izuku. It's a risk I'm going to take. And Venom just wished me good luck. They all were looking at the name of my choosing. Kirishima. Hey man, are you sure about that name? I just nodded and said this name will be something many people will recognize once I make pro. The quirkless Kumo. Midnight. The Japanese word for spider. Huh? She looked at me with a suspicious look in her eyes, and so did Aizawa. Why? Just woke up and I just said I like spiders, which is true, and they bought it for now. After that it was time. Aizawa announced about the internship from pros who would pick us, and seeing the amounts showed on the screen made me a bit mad that no one picked me. Finding out that I'm quirkless gave then a reason, which is bullshit. But I'm glad that the person in first is Shuyo instead of Bakuho, who's still mad that I'm in the class, plus him not being able to come in first. Meanwhile in the teacher's lounge we see Cementos looking at some papers and found my name on it, and that was when All Might looked as well, wanted to know who picked me as an intern, and what he saw made him freaked out. Now that class was over, all of them were picking which agency they should go. It's the same in the anime and manga. When I was about to leave with Mineta and Ochako, All Might appeared. All Might. I am here in a bizarre position. I was just confused until he told me he wanted to talk to me. I would have refused but just nodded and told Mineta and Ochako I'll see them soon, and walked out the door following All Might to a quiet place. All Might. I know you still hate me, but I am really sorry for what I did to you to break your dream, but I'll make it up to you by telling that my TEACJER would like to have you as an intern. I was shocked but a bit excited to find out that I might be training with the teacher that trained All Might, and I just said I accept, which made him smile even wider if that was possible, and gave the address to where he lives. When I was about to leave I stooped and turned my head to All Might. Izuku. Hey All Might. When he heard his name and saw me smiling I told thanks and walked off, not seeing the proud look on his face. Time skip. It was now time for us to go to our respective trains to the heroes we chose. It was a good thing I said my goodbyes to Shinso, Mei and my mom, and that was a relief, and I had to say goodbye and good luck to Mineta on his internship, which he did the same for me, and he shook hands and he left, and I was about to go until I saw Tenya with a look that will get him in trouble, so I went up to him. Izuku. Hey Iida, and he turned towards me. Izuku. Listen, I know you're having it rough with your brother getting attacked by the hero killer, but please don't do anything stupid, okay, and promise me you won't get hurt. I looked at him with a serious look on my face, and when he said he promised, he just leave it at that and went his way. I just sighed, but before I went on my train I was stopped by Ochako and Shuyo. I gave both of them a confused look and they just kissed me on both of my cheeks and suddenly ran away while blushing, and I know I'm not getting that out of my head soon, and thanks to Venom giving a headache with his laughter, I went on the train that is going to Yamanashi Prefecture. Time skip. I am here at the apartment thanks to the address All Might gave me, so I went and walked towards the door and knocked, then I opened it. Izuku. Hello, my name is Izuku Midoriya from Class 1A. I'm looking for Grand Tour. I didn't get to finish since I was looking at a short old man lying on his face with a red substance under him. Venom and I were freaking out. Venom, Izuku. He's dead. But then he suddenly raised his head up. Gran Torino, I'm alive. This made both of them panic again. Venom, Izuku. He's alive. Izuku's Pav. I was shocked to see Gran Torino in the state he was before, but I had to calm down and told him my name and the class one I'm from. Gran Torino. Who are you? I just sweat drop and said my name louder, but he asked again and I said my name again, but then he looked at me saying Toshinori, which is All Might's real name. But I just sighed thinking he's gone a bit senile, but then I saw going through my briefcase looking at my suit which May made for me. Even if the suit looks like it can be destroyed easily, but it can't since it has Kevlar. Gran Torino. I must say you clearly like to go stealth instead of flashy. He said it with curiosity and then he said with a serious look on his face to put on my suit and see what I got, which I agreed and got my suit on, and with some modifications on the gloves and boots which are also made from Kevlar. I was ready with Venom's help. I was prepared, and using Venom's abilities like Mimic I can copy a quirk's aspect, but I decided to use one of the quirks analyzed and I found out what Gran Torino's quirk is. Quirk. Jet Info. Allows him to shoot air from the holes on the soles of his feet. This gives him incredible speed and the ability to fly short distances. Finding this out, I prepared myself waiting for him to get ready, and he did by launching himself around me trying to confuse me and got me by kicking me in the back. I staggered a bit, but I had to dodge from his attack, putting him in a surprise state, but that didn't stop him from trying again, leading to most of the thing getting destroyed. I tried to pinpoint where he will attack me from, and I did, and was about to punch him, but he dodged in the last second using his quirk and putting his hand on my face while I was on the ground. Gran Torino. I must say you really surprised me for someone who doesn't have a quirk. Being able to dodge my attacks, analyzing and predicting where I will strike is really something. I struggled, saying that I didn't even land a punch on him. And then he got up and just looked at me. Gran Torino. You may not have put a scratch on me since you're still a novice, but you're improving, and seeing how you fight during the sports festival shows me you got a long way to go, but enough about. I want you to fix this place up while I get me a new microwave. And then he left while I got out of my suit and put on a t-shirt and some short pants, but I left on the gloves and boots and started to clean up. During the time, the others plus the students of Class 1B are doing their best in their respective internships, learning about how to be a hero, some helping citizens while others training. But let's go to one of my friend's internship, which is Minet's. The hero agency he chose was Mount Lady, and he thought it would help him to control his perversion while being around her, so let's go. Minet's POV. I'm here in the agency where Mount Lady works, and well, I find it hard to believe that this heroine wants help to clean her place. She was going on about how heroes this and that while reading a magazine, but I was just ignoring her and quickly finishing the cleaning. When I was done, I got out of my cleaning wear and went to my briefcase to get my hero suit, courtesy of May, who created the suit. Was very ninja-like, with my vigilante suit being pure black. My hero suit is black and purple without any hoodie, since I need to use my quirk and create weapons on the fly, so I put it on and looked at myself, and I got to admit, if it wasn't for Izuku, May, Shinso and Venom, I wouldn't be this fit. I looked at Mount Lady asking her if there's a training ground, and she said yes and gave the directions, and I left and went. After that I started to create kunais for target practice, my katana to practice my stance and strikes, and I started to create weapons that I might need to practice if I'm outmatched against a villain. And almost all the heroes and heroines who were at the agency saw me and how I trained, making impressed. Nobody's POV. Looking at Mineta's POV, it shows that he's really serious thanks to Izuku and his friends. But now in the location Hosu we see Iida walking with the normal hero, Manuel. For one thing, why would Iida accept this hero? The reason is because he's looking for Stain. Ignoring Izuku's words, he was going to take Stain down for what he did to Iida's brother. Manuel was talking about how he was surprised to intern Iida, but Iida just wasn't listening to focused for when he finds Stain. Now it was night time, and we see Gran Torino asleep, but Izuku wasn't asleep but is outside and is on the roof of a building looking at his phone and seeing the text from Mei, Toga, Ochako and surprisingly Shuyo, saying how one of them misses him. One is sore from training, the other is working on her inventions, and the other, which is Shuyo, wanted to know him better. Izuku just sighed, still finding hard to believe that he got not one but 5 girls are attracted to him, and let's not forget Black Cat, who might be interested in him as well. Izuku just sighed, but maybe doing a bit of work can ease up himself, and using sonar he found some criminal low lives. Izuku. Venom suit up. Venom. Copy. And he was back in his spider suit and got ready to take down some bad guys. Meanwhile we see the hero killer Stain walking out of a portal by the mist Kurogiri and jumped from building to building, leaving Kurogiri alone. He also left to go back to an unknown building. Nobody's POV. It's morning and we see Izuku and Gran Torino in the living room talking about how Gran Torino trained All Might and he trained him to get accustomed to his quirk, which made Izuku laughed a bit hearing how All Might got his ass handed to him and them many times All Might had deal with drawback. After that it was time to get something to eat, which was taiyaki, which is Gran Torino's favorite food. After that Gran Torino told Izuku that they were going on patrol later in the night to go by train. Meanwhile in Hosu, it was in the afternoon and we see on top of a building reveals Kurogiri's portal and what came out were three nomus of different size. And Shigaraki telling them to wrench havoc and he was smiling maniacally. Time skip, it's now night time and we see Izuku with his suit on and Gran Torino on the train to Shinjuku. However, there was an emergency stop and a crash on the side of the train making a hole from a hero who was unconscious. Izuku was shocked that his spider sense didn't go off, but then it did, and the cause was a Nomu like the one during the USJ incident, but this one was thinner and has light green skin, and when it was about to attack, Gran Torino pushed it away using his quirk above Hosu City. Izuku. Gran Torino. Gran Torino. Kid stay put. Izuku just watched on, and when he was about to check on Gran Torino he saw Hosu in a blaze and started worrying about Tenya. With a serious look on his face he jumped out of the train and his gloves and boots started to spread, stopping on his shoulders and below his knees. With his lower face mask on and his eyes turning red he jumped from building to building heading to where Gran Torino is. Meanwhile we see Stain is in an alley, overhearing the chaos in Hosu and realizes that Tamura has made his move. Stain decides to leave Tamura to his own mechanisms while he finishes his business, preparing to kill the pro-hero native with his katana. However, Stain feels the presence of someone approaching him from behind and uses his katana to slash at the person, knocking the person down to the ground as well as knocking off the person's helmet and glasses, who is revealed to be Tenya. Stain sees that the person who tried to attack him is a child, telling the child to leave. Stain. This doesn't involve you leave, but Iida didn't. Instead he told Stain he was searching for him with vengeful eyes. That was when Stain pointed his katana at Iida. Stain. You have avenging eyes. I'm warning you, don't meddle with me. If the situation demands it, then children will also be targets. And he turned towards his objective to finish the job, but Iida, angered with seething rage, yelled at Stain that his brother was a pro-hero that he cut down and has come to stop Stain. Iida. My hero name is Ingenium, never forget, cause that's a name of a hero that will take you down. Stain sees that he was serious about being a hero, got his weapons ready. Stain. If what you say is true, then prepare yourself for death, hero. Meanwhile, Gran Torino had smashed the Nomu-like creature into a small building. The Nomu-like creature slashes at Gran Torino, but the elderly hero jumps out of the way in time, dodging its attack. Gran Torino sees that the Nomu-like creature is about to attack two civilians. Gran Torino jumps at the Nomu-like creature in order to save the civilians. However, the Nomu-like creature was scorched by flames, forcing Gran Torino to stop his attack and back away. Endeavor, the hero who scorched the creature, says that he hasn't made acquaintances with the elderly hero, telling Gran Torino that he will deal with the Nomu-like creature. Not too long we Izuku arriving in Hosu and seeing the pro-heroes fighting against the two Nomus, but what had him confused is that Tenya's not on the fight, which he quickly found out that the reason he came in Hosu was to find and hunt down Stain, and that really made Izuku mad. He left the battlefield and searched for Tenya and hopes he finds him quick. On top of a building, Tamura praises the three Nomu for their destruction. Kurogiri asks Tamura if he will join the attack, however, Tamura replies that he won't because he is injured. Tamura says that when dawn breaks the world will forget about Stain. Meanwhile the battle between Stain and Tenya begins. Tenya uses a high-speed kick, only to be dodged by the hero killer. Stain smashes Tenya into the ground and stabs Tenya's shoulder with his katana. Stain. The reason you and your brother lost was because the two of you are fake heroes. Which causing Tenya to rebuke the hero killer's claim. Tenya. My brother isn't a fake at all, he has done so much and is a true hero, and I will avenge him by killing you. Stain advises Tenya to first save the injured pro-hero, which shocks Tenya. Stain. You shouldn't have acted out of vengeance, and that is the furthest from the title, hero. Once Stain said that he licks his bloodied katana and activates his quirk, which immobilizes Tenya. Stain. Goodbye fake. When Stain was about to deliver the finishing blow. However, Izuku suddenly appears and using his enhanced strength punches Stain in the face with his, preventing the hero killer from finishing off Tenya. Izuku announces his arrival and declares that he came to save Tenya. Izuku. Don't worry Tenya, I'm here to save you. He said it while on a stance ready for battle, but he asked Tenya if he can move, which he got a negative saying he's immobilized. Izuku's POV. I focused my sight on Stain getting up and he just said he was impressed with my efforts. Stain. I must say that was something, but don't get in my way, he needs to die, so what will you do? He said it in an intimidating way to scare me off, but I just shrugged it off and just gave him a bit of killing intent, and I know he felt it. I needed to plan this out to get both Tenya and the hero out of here, so getting ready. Tenya. You shouldn't be involved, this is my fight, I am the one that needs to take him down, you'll only get hurt because you're quirkless. When I heard that I put my attention towards him. Shut up, you're the reason why you're in this mess. I may be quirkless but I am not useless. Besides, getting involved in other people's business is one of the qualities of a hero. I said it with pure determination, which made Stain smile at what I said. The battle between me and Stain begun, my gloves activated, given off a bit of steam to strengthen my punches, and Stain charges at me, but I managed to get close to Stain and ran through the gap between his legs, avoiding the hero killer's katana and dagger slash. Stain counters by slashing at me with his katana, but I dodged by jumping into the air and above him and using my fist, delivering a powerful blow to Stain's head. Tenya was even more shocked at Izuku's faster movements, comparing them to Katsuki's movements. Stain looked like he was unfazed by my moves, licks his dagger and activates his quirk, and was when I suddenly became immobilized and unable to move. Izuku. What the hell what's going on Venom? It seems he got you by digesting your blood, that's how he the pro and engine boy over there. Izuku. Can't you get me moving Venom? I'm trying but it seems it's taking a while. Izuku. Damn it, I was frustrated that I'm unable to move and thinking how his quirk works and analyzing it quick, but that was when Stain came in my viewpoint. Stain. I have to say you have what it takes to be hero in more ways than one, but I have a job to do, and that's killing this pro and that child. He started to walk towards them and I was yelling at him to stop and trying to force myself to get up. Izuku. Damn it, don't do this, but he wasn't stopping. Izuku. God damn it, I can't take this versus I am going to use your form for this. Venom. Izuku, don't you'll reveal who you are in front of the pro and Iida, you'll be labeled as a villain and your mom will be worried sick. Izuku. But if I don't, Stain is going to kill them and that will be my fault. Izuku was trying to get Venom on board, but he didn't have to since a column of fire and a column of ice attacked Stain, but he managed to dodge in a nick of time. Iida and I were shocked that it was Shuyo who was the one that did that in her arrival, but she just looked at me with a stare. Shuyo. You know that message of yours was really cryptic and it made me arrive really late. I chuckled a bit and told her sorry, and I also told her to avoid Stain's blades and don't let him digest her blood, and she nodded and got ready to battle. In battle, Shuyo manages to hold Stain off with both her ice and fire powers, however, the hero killer's highly adept combat skills pressurize, which nearly overwhelmed her. But then I suddenly felt movement in my body thanks to V and leap into action, stopping Stain's attack, making him retaliate, knocking me away with his elbow, making me and Shuyo fall back. Me and Shuyo figured out that he needs blood for his quirk to work, and finding out the blood type and Stain told they were correct. I looked at him, my blood boiling with rage, and I looked at Shuyo and she looked back. Izuku. Shuyo, I need to watch over Tenya and Native, I'll take care of Stain and finish this. She was about to retort, but with one look in my eyes she just nodded and I came to her and kissed on her forehead, and getting the message she stepped back. I turned my attention to Stain and he got his katana ready. Stain. So you alone is going to take me down, you say, ha 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 ha, you got balls. I just looked at him, focusing my attention on his weapons, and I thought of something. Izuku. Let's make this a fair fight, swordsman versus swordsman. And I put out my arms using Venom's tendrils to form to black katanas, and that made Tenya and Shuyo shocked to find me doing that. While Stain was smiling like a maniac. Stain. Yes, that's it, SHIW me, what a true hero can do. And the both of us got in our stance and rushed after each other. Strike against strike, strike, block, strike, block. These are the patterns the two of us are doing, never giving each other opening. But I know he doesn't do this long. After figuring out the time limit for his quirk, I know both Tenya and Native can move again, but now I got to finish this. Using my speed and strength, I broke our deadly dance. of strikes and used one of my katanas to break his, but he dodged from my other katana just in time. But I wasn't giving up, increasing my speed even more. I was close to him and used the base of my sword in his gut, making him feel the pain. I then used my knee and drive it up to his chin, pushing him up in the air, but I wasn't done jumping up in the air. I then drove my fist really hard all over his body and finished it towards his face, making go down with a thud, rendering him unconscious. After that I removed his weapons and found wires to capture him. Then I put him over my shoulders and I looked towards the three who were shocked, and I just went to them with my blades in a X shape on my back. Shuyo was the first to say something. Shuyo. Okay, explain to us, what was that just now? I just said I'll tell them later, but for now we should go and get an ambulance, and they agreed. While we were walking, Tenya wanted to apologize and I just said it's okay, but then I told him his brother wouldn't have wanted him to go down this path, and he realized his mistake and promised he will become a better hero. That made me smile and also put a small smile on Shoyo's face as well. But then I suddenly had an aura covered me and I looked at Tenya with a smile which made him shake. Abbott. Izuku. But you did promise me that you wouldn't get in trouble. For that you're getting a punishment. Tenya was scared, but I just laughed and said I was joking, making him sigh in relief. Nobody's pav. Meanwhile, in another battlefield, the Nomu-like creature absorbs and releases Endeavor's flames, but Endeavor mocks the creature's quirk and pitiful attempt. However, Gran Torino tells Endeavor to be aware of the Nomu-like creature as it possesses multiple quirks. The Nomu-like creature prepares to attack Endeavor with a tongue-like quirk. Suddenly, Gran Torino propels himself at a great speed and smashes down into the Nomu-like creature, defeating it. Endeavor decides to let his sidekicks restrain the Nomu-like creature and tells Gran Torino to go to the address that he will give him, as he goes to help the other heroes who are fighting the two remaining Nomu. Once there, Endeavor timely saves one female hero as being crushed by a muscular Nomu, attacking him with a powerful flaming punch. He takes note of the Nomu regenerative abilities. In his next attack, Endeavor grabs the Nomu's head and completely burns it away, turning his red flames into blue, so that the carbonized cells can't regenerate. The flying Nomu starts to flee with a defeated pro hero in its claws. Endeavor urges the other pros to support Gran Torino while he pursues the creature. The number 2 hero is careful to strike its head using a flaming lance. The Nomu releases its grip on the pro and Endeavor catches him. He watches the injured Nomu fly away and claims that it won't get far. Meanwhile, we see Izuku with Stain on his shoulder, Native, Shuyo and Tenya leaving the alley, and that was when Gran Torino came. Thanks to the address from Endeavor propelled himself at Izuku, which he put down. Stain just in time had to block a kick from him. Gran Torino. I told you to stay put, kid. But he sighed in relief that Izuku is okay along with the group a part of it, and not long after the heroes that Endeavor sent there arrived, who were surprised to see that they have defeated and captured Stain. Tenya apologizes for his unheroic actions with Izuku said don't worry about it. Then Shuyo tells Tenya to pull himself together because he is the class president, with Tenya complying. Suddenly, the winged Nomu-like creature appears in the sky. Gran Torino sees the winged Nomu-like creature above and commands everyone to duck. The winged Nomu-like creature grabs Izuku and prepares to fly away. Gran Torino prepares to propel himself into the air to rescue Izuku, and Shuyo prepares her fire. But they didn't have to. Surprisingly, Stain, who was suddenly conscious, who freed himself from the ropes with a blade up his sleeve. Stain licks off the winged Nomu-like creature's blood from the female pro hero's face and activates his quirk. The winged Nomu-like creature becomes paralyzed due to Stain's quirk and stops flying, dropping Izuku in the process. Stain stabs the winged Nomu-like creature's brain and defeats it, causing to fall to the ground. Stain grabs Izuku and saves him. Stain, despite being heavily injured, states that the fake pro heroes and the pathetic criminals in society are his targets for his purge, saying that everything he is doing is for a just world. The pro hero who were injured by Stain are shocked at the hero killer's actions. Meanwhile, Tamura is watching the events unfold and is displeased that nothing is going his way. Endeavor arrives and sees the hero killer. Endeavor prepares to launch an attack on Stain, to which Gran Torino tries to make him stop. Stain's bandaged mask falls off, revealing that he does not have a nose, shocking everyone. Stain, despite his heavy injuries, steps forward and states that the fake heroes must be rectified and the word hero must be restored. Stain urges the pretenders to try and stop him. Stain continues walking forward and declares that the only one who is allowed to kill him is All Might. Stain then unleashes a bloody malefic aura which instills fear into everyone present. One of the pro-heroes fall down out of fear. Shuyo and Tenya fall to their knees. Izuku was just narrowing his eyes and was not affected by it. Gran Torino becomes tense and even Endeavor takes a step back. Stain takes a step forward, but the grievous injuries of his perforated lungs due to his broken ribs causes Stain to finally lose consciousness. Everyone is shocked and stunned that even though the hero killer lost consciousness, Stain was still standing. Nobody's paw. The next day at the Hosu General Hospital, we see Shuyo and Tenya who are recuperating while Izuku is there as well but with no injuries and just sitting here waiting for Gran Torino. Izuku. Sigh, from what I seen Stain would have killed us but with those injuries he got spared us. Shuyo. I agree, you were the one that gave him most of those injuries. Izuku nodded at this but then looked at Tenya who was quiet. Izuku. Hey Iida, don't feel down, I mean if you hadn't gone after Stain we wouldn't have put him away. Iida. You're right on that but I don't think I deserve it and also becoming a hero. And Izuku just walked towards him, put his hand on Iida's shoulders and said he has every right to be a hero, saying that his brother would have said the same thing, making Iida understand. Not long after, Gran Torino and the hero manual came in and also introduced the three teens to a tall man with a dog-like face. Hello young ones, I am the chief of the police force Kenji Suragame. And three bowed their heads. Suragame tells the young heroes them about Stain's condition, that he has severe injuries but is alive and is being treated. He then begins to tell them that since the appearance of quirks the police refused to use quirk users in the police force out of fear that quirks would be used as weapons, and that was why heroes were rose up to fill that position, but only if they followed strict rules and morals, as even young heroes like them that aren't ready to take such roles may harm other with their quirks if they aren't with their guardians or supervisors. Even if it was the hero killer, it would still consider breaking the law, as such, because they were not with their supervisors during yesterday's incident. Suragame tells them that they and their guardians Manuel, Endeavor and Gran Torino must receive punishment for breaking the law. Shuyo was furious and was about to shout at him but she didn't get the chance since she, including everyone, felt a deadly presence and they all looked at Izuku whose eyes were red and with a pissed off look. Izuku. What you're saying is some real bullshit. If me and Shuyo hadn't taken action Iida and Native would have been killed by Stain. Oh, and let's not forget you can't really punish since I'm quirkless. Izuku said that, which left Kenji shocked that he was the one that not only took down Stain but is also quirkless. But Gran Torino came to Izuku and tried to calm him down, so did Tenya. The chief police coughed and said that was his own opinion on the matter, trying to calm his nervousness. And he also said they would have been punished had it been an official disclosure. Since there were not enough witnesses to report the incident regarding Stain, Suragame states that he will cover up the incident, but as a result of Izuku, Shuyo and Tenya will not get any recognition for their valiant efforts. Suragame admits that he is covering up the story because didn't want the young heroes to get into trouble. Shuyo and Tenya thanked the chief of police while Izuku said he should have said that from the beginning. Suragame. You three have a promising future awaiting you all. And Suragame gave them a bow for their heroic actions and thanked them for keeping the peace. The next day begins. The news of Stain's defeat and arrest spreads like wildfire throughout Japan. At the League of Villains hideout, Tamura reads the newspaper. However, the newspaper mainly publishes Stain's feats and that his name will go down in history while the news on the Nomu is undermined. Angry that Stain is all over the news, Tamura crumbles up the newspaper, dissatisfied that his plan to undermine Stain and make the world forget about him failed. Tamura is annoyed by the fact that the world will never forget about Stain and that his efforts were undermined. Elsewhere, Katsuki thinks heavily about the incident, to which Best Jeanist admits that he is also thinking about it. He informs Katsuki and his sidekicks that they must stay calm and decides to take it easy. Eijiro and Tetsu are preparing to meet with Fourth Kind. Momo, Itsuka, and Uwabami work on a demo commercial before heading out to patrol. Ochako calls Izuku and is relieved that he, Shuyo and Tenya are alright. Izuku. Hey Ochako, look, I'm sorry that we won't get out dates soon. Ochako. It's okay, we might not get one because we're training to be heroes, so let's focus on that first, okay? Izuku. Okay, but when I see you again, I'm giving you a treat, sweet thing. And Izuku hanged up, leaving Ochako flustered and getting teased by Gunhead, but she calmed herself and started her training with him. Meanwhile in UA's teacher's lounge, we see present Mike, Eraserhead and All Might in his small form talking intel. A phone call is here, being repeated from All Might's phone, and when he answered he shot out of his seat and getting nervous. All Might. A Gran Torino, sir. Gran Torino. That student of yours caused me trouble. You know, thanks to him I'm having my license suspended for 6 months, but I like to thank you for bringing him to me. Even though he's quirkless, he's got a lot of potential. All Might. Yes, and you're welcome, Gran. But there's a reason why in calling you that, Stain fellow. He has the same identical ideology as you do, which can inspire people. All Might. Yeah, you're right, Gran. I fear that if Stain's backstory and ideology is revealed to the public, it will inspire villains to rise up, and the League of Villains will take all the credit, since the public views the League of Villains as a group that follows Stain's ideology, which will cause new villains to join the alliance. Thus evil will grow, and not only I that believe that an old enemy will use Stain's backstory to remove obstacles in his path. Gran Torino hypothesizes that the old enemy, the villain who killed All Might's predecessor and gave All Might his scars, All for One, has returned. All Might is shocked that All for One has probably returned, not wanting to believe it. Gran. From what I've seen from this kid, I think he's better suited for One for All. All Might. I agree, but he refused, but I think he might reconsider, or you might have to find someone else who can be the candidate for it. Gran. Sigh. Well, it's up to you to decide. See you later. All Might. Yeah, see you later. And Gran Torino ended the call. 2 days later, Stain's backstory is spreading throughout Japan and has become the main topic. In a hostess bar, 2 men are talking. A large man states that crime has taken a turn for the worse ever since All Might appeared, and decides that he might retire. However, Kagero Okuda, better known as Jiren, tells the large man to hold off his retirement. He shows the large man a video detailing Stain's backstory and his last stand before being arrested. Jiren says that Stain's attitude before falling unconscious will inspire hundreds of people, including many criminals as well as himself. Jiren. From what I'm seeing, many new villains will show up and unite with the organization that Stain was believed to be a part of, the League of Villains. I'm not going to write down the scenes for the other students. Watch the anime or read the manga to find out. At the end of the week, workplace training comes to an end. Outside Gran Torino's apartment, Izuku thanks Gran Torino for looking after him and training him. Gran. No problem, kid. And just before Izuku left, Gran Torino shout out to him. Gran. Hey kid, you know, maybe you should reconsider of accepting One for All. It might help you a lot. Izuku thought about it, saying it could help him, but thinking about the achievements he did without a quirk and only had help from his friends including Venom. Izuku looked at him and said he'll think about it, and Gran Torino nodded and also told him to talk to All Might about the origin of One for All, and Izuku nodded, but then Gran Torino decided to go senile mode and ask him his name, which Izuku was about to say his name, but then he smiled and said his name is Kumo. Gran Torino smiled at that response, turns around and goes back into his apartment. With their internships concluded, Class 1A returns to UA. Hi and talk to one another about their experience. Denki notes that the people who improved the most are Izuku, Tenya and Shuyo because of their encounter with the hero killer. Most of the class approaches them and asks what happened, but Shuyo says that Endeavor saved them from the hero killer instead of the truth. Denki comments that Stain is kind of cool despite being a villain. Izuku scolds Denki for this, prompting the latter to apologize, but Tenya says it's fine because he understands if people find the hero killer cool, due to his convictions. However, Tenya says that he does not justify his criminal acts. Inspired to walk the heroic path once again, Tenya returns to his old form and loudly asks the class to take their seats. Everyone is annoyed by Tenya's loud antics, but Izuku just smiled seeing him returning to the path of heroism. Afterward, Class 1A attends their next class, Foundational Hero Studies with All Might. All Might says that their lesson will be a rescue training race through Playing Ground Gamma. The class must race through the construction site and to the area in the middle to meet up with All Might. Class 1A will split into 4 groups of 5 for the training lesson. Izuku, along with Ojiro, Tenya, Mina and Honta are the first group that will partake in the rescue training race. The class comments on who will win. Momo and Kyoka note that Izuku is at a disadvantage due to him being quirkless, with Katsuki saying that Izuku will lose. Others think that Tenya, Ojiro, Zero and Mina all have an equal chance at winning, but Mineta and Ochako says Izuku have what it takes to win while the others doubt it except Shuyo. When the race was about to start, Izuku thought of dissing Bakugo, which made him smile a bit. Now we see Zero in the lead using his quirk, but he didn't get far since something passed him really fast, and what shocked him was Izuku with his mask on and eyes red maneuvering through the construction site with ease, using his enhanced speed thanks to Mei's invention and Venom's help, and with his agility to jump and move through the construction site while outpacing his classmates. All Might, Shuyo and Ochako take note of his extraordinary movements, and Mineta was smiling at his friend while the rest of the class are surprised by Izuku's skills and had one thought: how is he doing this? Isn't he quirkless? But Katsuki was shocked that Izuku's movements in combat have become similar to his own, angry that Izuku was copying and improving while he was doing nothing at all, made pissed. After the race ends, which Izuku came in first, All Might commends the group on improving their quirks more broadly since entering UA. He asks them to prepare for the end-of-term test. All Might approached Izuku. All Might, I must say you really are something, young man. Izuku, thanks All Might, but I need to talk to you about your quirk. All Might thought about it and told Izuku after the lesson is finished, he should come to his place because he wants to talk to Izuku about the story of him and One for All. Foundational hero studies ended and Izuku changes into his school uniform, seeing that he's the only one here, but that all changed since the door of the boys' changing room opened, and when Izuku turned he saw Ochako and Shuyo, who locked the door. Izuku, girls, is there something you need? Venom, they want your seed, you virgin ass. Izuku, shut it, they're not like that. However, Ochako walked towards him and kissed him fully on the lips, which made him blush. Once she released him, he was then kissed again, but it was from Shuyo. Ochako, you said you would do something for me, and this is what I want, Izu. She said in a sultry tone and giving Izuku small kisses on his neck. And Shuyo was still kissing him and gliding her hands on his body under his shirt. This was making Izuku very aroused, but he knows he got some business to deal with, so released the kiss between him and Shuyo and forcing Ochako out of it and telling them both he needs to go and talk to All Might. They were sad but understood and left, but not before giving him a kiss on the lips. And Izuku just sighed, hitting his back on the wall and blushing up a storm. Izuku, god damn it, I'm a pussy. Venom, oh, so now you're admitting it. Izuku, sigh, just shut up. Izuku adjusted his uniform and left. After that happened, Izuku heads to the break room to meet with All Might. All Might, glad that you're here, young Midoriya. Izuku, yeah, listen, I need to know about your quirk, if I'm going to accept it or not. Venom, are you though? Izuku, it depends on the quirk's origin and what it means. All Might tells Izuku that One for All is a special quirk and begins telling Izuku One for All's origin. All Might says that One for All is derived from a quirk that has existed since the beginning. He says that long ago, during the quirk phenomenon, society had not adapted to the idea of having quirks, which caused an age of upheaval to arise. A man possessing a quirk called All for One stole many quirks and used his new overwhelming power and influence to gather and unify people under his command. The man used the people he gathered as pawns for his plans, which allowed to take over Japan and made himself its evil ruler. Izuku, I think I've heard rumors, but I've never seen this story in any of the textbooks. All Might, that's because underground dealings are never recorded in the textbooks. Izuku asks how this man is related to One for All. All Might says that All for One can grant quirks, but those who were not able to handle the strain became braindead like Nomu. All Might explains that there were cases for those who did survive the procedure where their quirks mutated. Skipping the explanation since it will be long, so after All Might explained to Izuku about One for All's origin, he thought about it, but finding out the quirk's drawback, but that won't be a problem. And seeing that Izuku seeing him change how he felt about him and already forgave him, he got his answer. Izuku, you know, if it weren't for you saying that I can't become a hero, I wouldn't be here in the first place, but it was thanks to someone who showed me a different way. All Might thought that Izuku was refusing, so he waited for it. Izuku was smiling and said he accepted and become All Might's successor. And that made Toshinori happy. Toshinori, thank you, young Midoriya. Now that you accept it and you're strongly fit, I'll give my quirk. And Izuku was ready, but he and Venom were not ready for what All Might did. He was in his muscle form, pulled out a strand of his hair and told Izuku to eat it, which made had a blank face while Venom was laughing at Izuku's misfortune. After eating the hair, All Might told him that it will take an hour for him to use one for all, which Izuku nodded. After that he returns to class, where Shuyo tells Class 1A that they will be going to a forest lodge during the summer break. However, Shota warns his students that if any of them fail to pass the end-of-term test, then they will be stuck in remedial school, and Aizawa was looking at Izuku with suspicion, finding it hard to believe that he is quirkless. Elsewhere, a man is surprised that the hero killer Stain was captured but is still happy that things are going as he has foreseen. He exclaims that Tamura's position is to supervise and unify the new villains who have come to join the League of Villains. The man's doctor expresses doubt if Tamura can do his job and says that if the man stepped in, things would be proceeding faster. The man asks the doctor to patch him up faster. The man reveals himself to be Tamura's sensei, or All for One, and says that he will let Tamura do all the hard work so that he may become his successor, as Tamura was born to do so. All for One, rejoice in this transient peace while you still can, All Might. Nobody's paw. Time has passed since the end of the workplace training. It was now the final week of June and there is 1 week left until the end of term test. In Class 1A everyone is talking about the end of term test. Denki and Mina admit that they have not been studying due to the many events that have taken place throughout the semester, to which Tokiyami agrees. Sato notes that the end of term test will be more difficult than the midterm tests. Mineta remarks that there is also an exercise test, saying that it will be tough trying to ease their pain, but it wasn't working. Mina and Denki were looking at him with annoyance. Izuku, who placed 4th, encourages Denki and Mina to do their best because he wants to go to the forest lodge with them. Tenya, who placed 2nd, also encourages them, while Shuyo, who placed 5th, remarks that if he had just attended classes normally then he would not have such low grades, to which Denki asks Shuyo to mind her words. Meanwhile, Momo, who has the highest grades in the class overall, says that she can help them with studying, although she is not confident about the exercise test. Ojiro, Kyoka and Shiro ask for her guidance, which makes Momo blush with pride and gratefully decides to help them. Hiroshima notes that Momo is being virtuous, to which Bakugo angrily reminds him that he is also virtuous, saying that he will tutor him until he bleeds since he has the 3rd highest grade in the class. In the lunchroom we see Izuku, Tenya, Shuyo, Ochako, Tsuyu, Toru, Mineta eating at a table discussing how they will perform in the end-of-term test, finding it they will have no problem with the written test but finding the practical test a bit challenging since they don't know what it is about. Izuku's paw. While my friends were talking about the exam I was thinking about One for All, and with the help from Venom I figured out how to utilize it, but it will take some time after the exam. Then my spider sense was on and I had to duck from getting hit by a tall young man with slick blonde hair, which gets shorter the further down his head it goes, styled so that it's parted to the left, his bangs left hanging over his right eye with his irises the color of periwinkle purple. His name is Nito Monoma. When I looked at him he had this smug-like smile that made me want to punch him really hard. Venom. That can be arranged. Izuku. We'll wait and see what he does. Monoma. Oh, I'm sorry if I was about to bump into you. I thought I saw a fly on your big head. I just looked at him with an annoyed look. Same goes for Mineta and Shuyo. But Monoma just ignored that and looked towards me. Shuyo and Tenya saying how encountered the stain which caused 1A's popularity to rise even more. Monoma. You may have risen in popularity but Class 1B might get into danger cause of you all and it will be scary and we'll blame you for getting us hurt. He said sarcastically, and that made my eye color turn red and my anger was going out of control, but before I did something drastic Monoma got hit in the back of his neck by Itsuka Kendo, the big sister of Class 1B, who was busy reprimanding Monoma for making fun of us about the stain incident and apologizing for his behavior. I got up from my seat, my eyes are still red, and I walked towards her looking her eyes and she did the same, and then I said it's okay and out put my hand for a handshake, which she did. Kendo. Oh, I'm sorry for listening to your conversation, but from what I've heard the exercise test is a battle simulation fighting against robots just like the entrance exam. I was shocked that she has knowledge about the exercise test, to which Itsuka says that she gained the knowledge an upperclassman. On the floor, Nito criticizes Itsuka for revealing the knowledge on the exercise test, as he wanted to use that hidden knowledge to forestall Class 1A and defeat them. Itsuka drags Nito away and hits him again, reminding Nito that they don't detest us. Back in class, I revealed the content of the exercise test to the class, much to Denki and Mina's happiness. Mezzo Shoji notes that they are happy because they do not have to adjust their quirks for real-life opponents. Katsuki says that he does not care about who he will be fighting in the exercise test since he will just blow them away. Still angry, Katsuki confronts me while I was putting on a blank look, saying that I was starting to get on his nerves. Ochako wonders if Katsuki is referring to my recent movements during the foundational hero studies, which made me laugh on the inside. Katsuki: listen here Deku, I don't want that same crappy result like in the sports festival. This test is to determine who's the better man by their grades. Katsuki then remarks that he will show the power gap between them and defeat me, which just made me sigh, not knowing the power gap between his and me was already large to begin with. Seething with rage, he also said that he will defeat Shuyo as well. Katsuki angrily walks out. Eijiro notes that Katsuki has not been agitated in a while, to which Fumikage says that Katsuki's animosity is getting the better of him. While Katsuki walks through the corridor, Shuyo thought that Katsuki has become worse. Nobody's pav. Throughout the final week all the students of Class 1A studied hard, and when it was time to do the test and finish they all passed. The next day was the time for the exercise. We see 1A outside with the UA students. During that time Principal Nedzu, who was inside Aizawa's scarf, and explained the changes for the test. After that all students, with each having a pair, were fighting against the teachers to get experience. It was followed Shuyo and Momo versus Aizawa Sensei. Next was Izuku and Mineta, who both high-five each other, and they were up against All Might, telling them to be prepared, but they weren't showing fear. Instead they showed excitement and had their hands on their respected weapons. The next teams were Fumikage and Tsuyu versus Ectoplasm, Bakugo and Shiro versus Midnight, Kyoka and Koji versus Present Mike, Denki and Mina versus Nedzu, Hiroshima and Sato versus Smentos, Tenya and Ojiryo versus Powerloader, Ochako and Yuga versus 13, Mezu and Toru versus Snipe. Nobody's pav. It was time for both Izuku and Mineta to try and win. Both of them have their weapons ready and talked about the strategy they should use while walking towards the site. During that time Izuku told Mineta via mind link about having All Might's quirk, and Mineta understood. Now we see them walking cautiously, readying in their weapons. Izuku: stay alert and don't lose focus. Mineta: got it. They waited until Izuku's spider sense was on and had to dodge while grabbing Mineta from getting crushed by All Might. All Might: I must say heroes, you surprised me, but that won't be enough. And All Might came rushing at them. Izuku told Mineta to get to higher ground and told him what to do, and he nodded and left, leaving Izuku, who got his gloves ready and steaming, rushed after All Might, and both of their punches connected, causing shockwaves. Izuku was smiling at All Might and he was confused why, until he felt something on his wrist and saw purple-like chains. Izuku backed away from All Might and Mineta decided to join in, telling Izuku he was done, and Izuku nodded, but their victory ended because All Might broke out of the chains, which made Mineta shocked, knowing his quirk would have stuck All Might in place. All Might then came after them and using his speed got close and punched both of them in the gut and making them pushed back really far. All Might: I guess you should have held back a bit, but I have to play the role of a villain. Meanwhile, Izuku and Mineta are in a building taking breath from the punch they got. Mineta: geez, I know he's strong, but this is overkill. Izuku thought of a plan and looked at Mineta. Izuku: Mineta, listen, I'm going to see if I can use my quirk and I'll need your help, okay? Mineta nodded and used his quirk to create gauntlets. Both of them started to get ready. Mineta having his gauntlets becoming denser while Izuku got into a stance and using one for all, activating it around his body. Izuku: one for all, full cowl. Mineta seeing this was starstruck but focused forward, and both him and Izuku rushed on. Meanwhile, All Might was seen standing in one place waiting for them, and he got his wish since he was a bolt of green lighting flashing close to him, and was shocked to see Izuku finding him using one for all on the first go, and using it effectively made him smile, but he had to dodge from a devastating punch which caused the ground to make a 5-foot crater. And what made it more shocking is that almost all the students of Class 1A had one major thought in mind: how did he get a quirk? Now we see All Might getting ready, but Mineta came in fast and punched All Might in the gut hard, and that wasn't enough since Izuku rushed in and punched All Might in the face, pushing him back and giving both Izuku and Mineta time to run towards the gate, and when they made it was announced that they passed. And giving each other a fist bump while smiling. After that it was the end of the practical test and the only students from Class 1A who were unable to pass were Eijiro, Rikido, Denki, and Mina. After that all the students went back to school and came questioning Izuku about his sudden quirk when he said he found out he was a really late bloomer and had to practice getting used to it, which nodded in understanding while Ochako and Shuyo kissed him on the cheek and left, leaving Izuku blushing while Mineta and Venom are smirking. Meanwhile at the League of Villains hideout we see Shigaraki holding a picture of Izuku and then disintegrate it. Then came the broker Jiren who brought in boy who calls himself Dabi. Shigaraki was unimpressed with him and was pissed to hear how he respects Stain. Hearing enough of it, Shigaraki and Dabi were about to kill each other if not for Kurigiri using his quirk to stop it. Shigaraki just left using a hoodie to hold his face. In UA we see Izuku walking towards a room. When he opened it he saw All Might. Izuku. Hey All Might, you wanted see me? All Might. Yeah, I want to say congratulations on you and Mineta passing, and I wanted to say if you want to take a trip. And also for using one for all and not having any drawbacks means you have what it takes. Izuku thanked All Might about one for all, but he was confused and asked him what trip he was talking about, and All Might told it's a trip to I Island, and Izuku was shocked and excited to be able to go, and he nodded, which made All Might smiled. After finishing their conversation Izuku left to go to class, and once everything was finished they all decided to hang out and go to the mall to get things for the training camp. Some of them joined while others had business to deal with. Later on we see most of students at the mall and some are splitting up to get what they need for the trip. Izuku. Well, I guess it's just you and me Ochako, so what are you going to do? Ochako. I'm basically getting bug spray. And then she remembered what Aoyama said to her about loving Izuku, which made her blush and ran, leaving Izuku and also Venom confused. Izuku was walking around thinking about the trip to I Island, being able to experience it, but he had to tell his mom, Toga, Mei and Shinso about it. However, he was interrupted by someone putting their arm around him. Hey, you're that quirkless guy from the sports festival that came in first. Izuku. Yeah, that's right. Who would have believed I had the chance to talk to you and also seeing winning against the hero killer Stain. Now that caused Izuku to be on alert, and when he turned his head he saw a face that looked pale, lips that were chapped and red eyes that looked ready to kill. Izuku knew who he was, the villain with hand on his face and his voice Shigaraki. Izuku was about to attack when he a hand on around his neck. Shigaraki. Now if you start I'm do something that will kill all of these people. When Izuku heard that he used sonar for Abbott and found Shigaraki was by himself, but he didn't struggle and let Shigaraki to talk to him, and the two of them took a seat to talk. Shigaraki. Now I have a question for you. What's the difference between me and Stain? We're both villains. How come he's more respected than the League? If you answer right I may not have to kill you. Izuku felt his hand tighten, but he gave his reason, saying that Stain had a reason to kill and had conviction, and how Stain find All Might the only hero capable of taking him down. When Shigaraki heard that he realized why Stain pissed him off, and that was because of All Might finally having the answer he needs. Shigaraki. Well, thanks kid, but there's one more question you need to answer. Izuku. And what's that? Shigaraki looked at him with a smile filled with malice. I want you to join the League. This made Izuku suddenly stop his mind telling him to kill this villain, and what Izuku did was this: elbowed Shigaraki in the gut hard, making him release his grip on Izuku, and Izuku punched him in the face. That was when Ochako came and asked what was going on in a frightening tone. Izuku just said to call the police. And Shigaraki, who got up, glared at Izuku. Shigaraki. No matter how long, I'll make sure you'll join. And Izuku just looked at him with his eyes red, filled with anger, and his voice combined with Venom's. I like to see you try, asshole. Izuku rushed after him, but he dodged and into the crowd, and Izuku used sonar to find him, but he was gone. Izuku tightened his fist and Ochako came, hugged him, scared of what happened. And Izuku hugged her back. Izuku. I know for one thing this isn't over, not by a long shot. Nobody's paw. Several years ago there was an attack on a casino in California, USA. Two villains, one blue and beastly and the other clad in red, escaped from the scene and stirred up a public panic. The police and two heroes, Electoplant and Cow Lady, tried to apprehend the criminals, but they lost in a battle of quirks. The chaos threatens a family trapped in their car, but a young, yet unknown hero sends the villainous duo flying with a strong punch. What the hell? Who the hell are you? And the unknown hero just said he's a hero from Japan. The villains attack with a missile barrage that the hero easily dismisses. More interested in escaping than fighting, the two criminals quickly flee the scene. The hero loses track of them after taking too long to boast. Another young man arrives at the scene at top speed using the Allmobile. Together, David Shield and Toshinori Yagi pursue the villains through town using a drone to track them through downtown LA. It's not long before David is gaining on the villains. The red one fires missiles at them, but the Allmobile counters with a shield of bubbles that nullify the explosions. David is impatient because he and Toshi are going to be late for a lecture at school. Toshinori kicks his abilities into high gear and soars high into the sky. The villains try to escape up the side of a skyscraper, but nothing prepares them for Toshinori's incredible power. Missiles only manage to burn Toshinori's clothes away, revealing the hero costume hidden beneath. Toshinori finishes the battle in incredible fashion. Toshinori. Now it's time for a special nov and name this after your hometown Dave. And Dave smiled while giving a thumbs up. Dave. Go for it. And Toshinori yelled out, T. California SMAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAA hero they don't recognize. David informs them that his name is All Might, and he will become the world's symbol of peace. Toshinori was having that dream from his younger days but was awoken by Izuku. Izuku. Geez, All Might, I had call out your name more than once. Toshinori. Sorry about that, he said while scratching the back of his head. Izuku. Anyways, come look, we're almost at Island. Letting Toshinori see that he was right. Izuku decided to thank Toshinori for inviting him so early in the summer, and Toshinori said to him when he became his successor the both of them were bonded to one for all, meaning they're connected thicker than blood. While he was smiling at Izuku, and Izuku nodded understanding. Izuku. It's cool, but this quirk is really a pain in the ass. Venom. How so? Izuku. When I use it there's the backlash, even though you help heal me it's still a pain. Venom. Well, after this how about training it more? Izuku. Yeah, I'll do that. The plane lands at the Island's airport and we see Toshinori shift into his muscle form while wearing his hero costume. All Might. I have to maintain this form, so they want KNKW my secret, and did the people in UA allowed you to bring your hero costume? Izuku. Yeah, they did. And he went to change, keeping the hoodie and mask from of his face and not wearing the gloves, putting them in his pockets. They exit the plane and passed through the immigration. All Might asked Izuku about Island, and Izuku talked about Island as an artificial moving island built for scientists to research quirks. There are signs and broadcasts over TVs talking all about the Expo. The event is still in an early access stage, meaning those with an invitation can gain access to an abundant showcase of incredible technology. Residents and tourists alike are allowed to use their quirks and enjoy the various attractions in throughout the city. While Izuku overlooks the beautiful scenery, but then he saw All Might being swarmed by his adoring fans. This made Izuku laugh, but then he also got swarmed, and they were from young kids asking him for his autograph. This goes on for longer than the popular hero, and Izuku would have liked it too, making All Might late to meet an old friend, but then him and Izuku heard a girl's voice. Uncle Might. And they saw a young woman with a full-figured and attractive pale-skinned young woman of slightly above average height with quite a round face. She has wavy blonde hair which reaches halfway down her back, two shorter pieces she leaves over her shoulders, side-swept bangs that frames her face, aqua blue eyes with notable upper eyelashes, some slightly longer ones extending on each side, and pronounced lower eyelashes. And her choice of clothing: she normally wears a white short-sleeved dress shirt with plaid cuffs, a large bow of the same design at her neck, and a dark raspberry pink waistcoat. Accompanying these are pale gray capri pants, under which are a pair of plaid pink socks as well as a pair of heeled brown boots. She also wears a wristwatch and pink, oval-framed glasses. Who was bouncing on a pogo stick and jumped towards All Might. All Might. Oh Melissa, I'm so happy to see you. Look how much you've grown since the last time I saw you. Melissa. I'm only 17, uncle. And the two laughed, but Izuku fake coughed to get their attention, and All Might introduced him to Melissa, saying she is his friend's daughter. Izuku. It's nice to meet you, my name is Izuku Midoriya. And once the two of them shook hands, Melissa suddenly started looking at him in his suit and getting close to him, which made him a bit uncomfortable. Melissa. Kevlar embedded, and is there a reason you have swords on you? She asked him with curiosity, and Izuku just said it's a part of his quirk. But before she can continue, All Might interrupted, reminding Melissa about the agenda, and she focused herself and told them to follow her, and they did, but Izuku was just focusing on the thing that's around her neck, a small gray tiger face. Izuku. Interesting. Meanwhile, a mysterious group of men survey the airport lobby from an elevated platform. Their leader speaks with a contact on the phone, confirming they've infiltrated the expo and that goods will arrive later in the day. Meanwhile, inside David's laboratory, we see Sam talking to David about how well his daughter was doing on her own research. She appears not long after to reuniting All Might with his old friend Dave. All Might. I am here showing happiness for seeing my old friend. David was speechless from the surprise, and All Might is very happy to see his longtime friend. He introduces Dave to Izuku, but he knew all about Professor David Shield, saying he's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, All Might's former sidekick and the designer of all his hero costumes. David notices steam coming from All Might and asks everyone to give them some time alone. He also asks Melissa to show Izuku around the expo. Melissa and Izuku exit through a corridor and continue getting to know each other. Back in David's lab, All Might reverts to his weak form, and David is surprised at how injured he is. He learned about the injury via email, but nothing could have prepared him for this. Melissa takes Izuku through the Expo, where they notice many pro heroes including Godzilla, all invited to the event by sponsors. Everyone is also invited to a reception party at the end of the night. Melissa asks Izuku if he's attending, and this makes him realize why All Might made him pack formal clothing. Melissa takes Izuku to the pavilion and shows him tons of different inventions out on display. Izuku eventually asks about Melissa's dad, and she admits she's aspiring to be a great scientist just like he is. She is a third-year student at Island Academy, studying to be a scientist in the same way Izuku is for becoming a hero. They share the same goal of becoming like the people they admire. They enjoyed each other's company, but they were interrupted. It looks like you're having fun, Izuku. Izuku turned around and was shocked to see Ochako. Izuku. Ochako, what are you doing here? But she ignored his question, and it looked like she was jealous. Ochako. It looks like you're having fun. Izuku was confused when he heard her said the same thing, but he heard a cough, and it was from Momo. Izuku. Momo. She looked at him with a look. Momo. It looks like you're having fun, Midoriya. Midoriya, I heard. Izuku looked again to see Kyoka, and seeing her with her earphone jacks up, he knew something was up. Izuku explains that Melissa is just showing him around the expo. Melissa brings up All Might, but Izuku stops her and asks her not to say anything. The five of them get tea together at the cafe. Izuku was relieved, having avoided spilling any secrets. Here's your drink, sir. Izuku. Thank you. When Izuku was about to drink, he turned towards the waiter, and he was shocked to see Mineta and also Kaminari. Izuku. Mineta and Kaminari. The girls were also surprised to find their other classmates here, and they said they're here working as extra staff at the cafe. Izuku was happy to see Mineta, and Bro hugged him. But then Tenya came running in at top speed, reminding Denki and Minoru to represent UA as good workers. The reason Tenya's here is because the Iida hero family was invited to the expo, but Tenya is the only one free to attend. Momo got invited because her family has stock in some of the Expo sponsors. She got to bring Kyoka and Ochako as she had 2 extra invites. The other girls lost rock paper scissors and can't attend the Expo until it's open to the public. Melissa promises to show everyone around once the expo is fully open. Izuku's pav. I was enjoying seeing my classmates getting along with Melissa, and just as I was about to continue drinking my refreshment, you heard an explosion, thinking it must be some kind of crisis. But when I walked in, I was surprised that it was a villain attack attraction, where I saw Kirishima, who defeated several villain bots 33 seconds, placing him in 8th place. But then I saw Bakugo there as well, and seeing him coming in 1st place with 15 seconds. Kirishima. Hey guys. Kirishima shouted out to us, but this made Bakugo irritated to see me, so he leapt onto the stands. Bakugo. What the hell are you doing here, Deku? I just looked at him, showing no emotion, which the others saw. Izuku's thoughts. Don't kill him. Don't kill him. Don't fucking kill this asshole. Venom. Damn it, Izuku, you're making me want to join in. I just told him I was invited. And Kirishima was telling us Bakugo came because he came in second for the sports festival and Kirishima just tagged along. Kirishima asked me if I wanted to give the attraction a try and Bakugo decided to say I'm too much of a pussy to do it. This made me nearly wanted to strangle him, but I just went down to the platform and using about 10% of one for all. When I heard go I pushed forward using Venom's strength plus my own adding one for all. I came in first with 5 seconds, leaving the people shocked because I broke the record. When I looked back I saw that Melissa was looking at me with curiosity. When I got back Ochako and Tenya were praising me for my performance, but this led to Bakugo being more pissed off at me, but then another person attempt the attraction and came in second with 14 seconds and that person was Shuyo Todoroki, who used her ice to freeze the bots. This made Bakugo mad and wanted to go again, but he was denied. Aggravated, he yells at Shuyo, interrogating her why she was here. Shuyo. I was invited to represent my father. I walked towards her and when she saw me she came and hugged me tightly. The reactions. Ochako was jealous, Kyoko was shocked, same for Momo, Kirishima was crying manly tears, Tenya's glasses were broken and had to get a new one, Melissa was curious and Bakugo was shocked to find me getting hugged from a girl, which made him even more mad if that was possible. I just hugged her back and smiled at her, leaving her blushing a bit. Tenya runs over at top speed again, yelling that Class 1A can't misrepresent UA to the world. Melissa watches in amazement of all us around her. She commends us for our amazing talents. Nobody's paw. Meanwhile, the mysterious group from the airport continues to move. The leader receives a phone call to confirm the goods have been delivered. He learns All Might is on the island, but he doesn't worry, he has devious countermeasures for the symbol of peace. At David's lab we see Toshinori laying in David's medical bed, where a machine scans his body and sends the corresponding readings to David's computer. The professor is horrified to see that All Might's quirk levels have dropped drastically. Toshinori leaves the machine and David asks him why his powers have taken such a devastating drop. Concurrently, the mysterious man from earlier receives the goods and learns All Might is on the island. David runs tests of Toshinori's broken body and learns that his quirk levels are astronomically low. He asks Toshinori about it, but he gives him a vague response. David worries that Japan's low crime rate of 6% will rise with the fall of the symbol of peace. All Might reassures him that the symbol of peace is still alive and saying there's a vigilante helping out. This made Dave feel a bit better knowing Toshinori was talking about Spider-Man. Melissa and the others regroup with Denki and Minoru. Melissa prepared invitations to the party for them and moves only Kaminari into tears. Tenya reminds everyone to meet up at the party at 6:30 p.m. Everyone disperses but Melissa asks Izuku to join her at her lab. Katsuki refuses to go to the party because he's unprepared, but luckily Eijiro brought clothes for him. All Might shifts into his muscle form and leaves David's lab, promising to see him later at the party. David recalls the first time he ever met Toshinori. There was an accident at his school where an experiment caused an explosion that set fire to the building. Toshinori saved all the people trapped inside from the blaze. David greets Toshinori and learns he's trying to become a hero. David creates a costume for All Might to use as a hero. From that point on, they worked together to suppress villains and worked as heroes during All Might's young age. All Might shared his dream of acting as a symbol of peace for the world with David. A group of masked villains receives the goods, which are equipment and weaponry they use to restrain all the party's security guards. The main villain dons his mask and moves out with his team. Meanwhile, on the campus of Island Academy, Melissa shows Izuku to her lab. He notices all her awards and commends her. Melissa claims her grades were slipping but she still studies hard to become a hero. Izuku. Say Melissa are hoping to become a pro. But what Izuku heard made him shocked. Melissa. I would have wanted but I'm quirkless. This really shocks Izuku because they were both born without quirks. But she said she was okay with being quirkless because she can still be a hero that supports others like her father. This made Izuku glad that she found something other than being a hero, but he was still focusing in on the thing around her neck. Izuku. Hey Melissa, just out of curiosity, what's that on your neck? Melissa finally found what she was looking for, and at the time she heard what Izuku said she turned towards him and touched the amulet. Melissa. Well, this is a amulet, a jade tiger. It was gift from my dad from one of his research. It didn't look much, so he decided to give it to me. She said it with a smile on her face that made Izuku feel happy. But then she walked towards him. Melissa. Here, Izuku, put this on. What Melissa gave Izuku was an old support item she invented that was inspired to All Might. When she equipped it on Izuku's right hand, he activated it and it takes the shape of an gauntlet. Melissa. I called it the full gauntlet after seeing you do in the attraction. You were holding back, meaning you're not used to your power. This made Izuku surprised that she found it out about his limit. Even though he helps with the healing, it still hurts. Izuku. But why give this to me? Melissa. Because you and Uncle Might are similar, and with the gauntlet it can take the full power of All Might's punches 3 times before it breaks. In other words, full gauntlet will allow you to use 100% of your power for 3 smashes. Izuku was happy that Melissa entrusts this item to him, and she asks him to become a great hero that can protect people. Izuku nodded until he saw something. Izuku. Hey, does your amulet glow like that regularly? When he said that, Melissa looked at saw that her amulet was in fact glowing, which made her surprised. She shook her, saying this as a first, until she suddenly got a headache when the glow got brighter. Izuku. Melissa, are you okay? He came towards her, and when the glow faded we saw that Melissa was holding her head and looked at him saying she's fine, and that was when the glow for amulet faded more until its stone turned gray. Izuku was confused on what had happened, but his ringtone came on from his phone and then he answered. Izuku. Hello, Tenya. Midoriya, where are you? You've missed our scheduled meeting time. Izuku. Oh shoot, I'm sorry, I'll be there soon. When he ended the call he told Melissa they got to go, and she nodded, going to get ready. Melissa's thoughts. What were those memories, and what was that tiger saying about? And Izuku left to change into his suit. Once he got ready he went to the central tower to meet Tenya, Kaminari and Mineta. Izuku. Hey guys, you all look good. And Izuku came up to Mineta to give fist bump. The guys were waiting for the girls, which made Tenya a bit unpleased about it, but then they arrived with their formal dress attire, which made Kaminari happy inside. Izuku just looked at them and walked towards them and giving a bow, which made them confused until he said. Izuku. It is my honor to say you all look beautiful in my eyes, that it's making me breathless. He said it with pure confidence and looking at them with his emerald-like eyes. This made the girls blushing. Ochako. Oh my god, Izuku, stop it, this is too much. Momo shocked face, oh my, saying it like that. Kyoka. What is he saying all of a sudden? Why do I feel like I want him? Shuyo. Izuku, you're making me wanting you more. Melissa. What's this feeling in my chest that I want him? The party was being held in the reception hall on the 2nd floor of the tower. There, the representatives of the expo asked the number 1 hero to speak for the crowd. Meanwhile, Tenya was unable to contact Katsuki and Eijiro because they left their phones and have gotten lost trying to find the party. All Might's speech is abruptly interrupted when the island security system sets off an alarm across the entire island. Honta and Rikido notice it from the business district, while Mina, Tsuyu, and Toru watch from their hotel room. The security system threatens everyone with a curfew, forcing Fumikage and Mezzo to rush indoors. The system also locks the central tower from the outside. Wolfram and his masked legion of criminals barge into the party armed with guns. They threaten to use the security bots to hold everyone on the island hostage. All of the pro heroes, including All Might, get restrained by powerful bond shots from the ground. David warns All Might to comply with the villains and swears to find a way to save everyone. Meanwhile, Izuku and the others are at the mercy of the security system and being unable to get a signal from their phones and not being able to use the elevator. Izuku. All Might is at the party, so we need to go there. At the hostage situation, Wolfram promises to release everyone in time. He silences a mouthy hero and receives orders to take in a researcher. He attempts to take in Samuel Abraham, but David saves his assistant. Both of them are taken in as All Might watches in bondage. All Might then saw a flash and met Izuku flashing a light on the 3rd floor. Kyoka used her quirk to connect to a speaker so All Might can explain the situation. Izuku's paw. After telling everyone about the situation, I heard Tenya suggest we escape because we can't legally fight the villains, but Melissa reveals that Island's security is on par with Tartarus. Then Shuyo and Kyoka believe they should help out along with Mineta, but Momo believe they can't. It was awkward until I pull out my twin katanas, making the group look at me when I said I'm going to help, showing them a serious face. Izuku. I'm going to help and save everyone the best I can. Mineta came to me showing his katana as well. Mineta, I'll join you. This made me smile and I said if we can't fight then we'll avoid it. Melissa came to me and agreed with and told us she can reset the security system street the top floor of the tower. Everyone decides to work together to disable the system. I then told Melissa to stay behind cause this can be dangerous since she's quirkless, but she refused, saying she wanted to help as much as I do. Seeing her determination drove me to help, and that was the time her amulet glowed, but it faded away. I got back to where All Might is to relay the message to him, which he disapproved, but he agrees that heroes must act in this kind of situation. All Might puts his faith in us and remains constricted on stage. In the control room, the villains threaten David and escort him to another area. Nobody's POV. Meanwhile, the UA students scale over 50 floors until they run into a shutter cutting them off from the 80th floor. Minoru accidentally opened the door to the main section of the floor. Izuku. Mineta, why? Mineta. I'm sorry, I didn't know Venom. That was bullcrap. The security system notifies the villains and Wolfram sends his men to neutralize them. The shutter doors close in on the students from both ends of a corridor. Shuyo uses her ice to keep one of the doors open long enough for Tenya to open a path to the plant factory. Kyoka stops everyone when she notices the elevator on the other side of the floor is going up. They decide to hide and hoping the villains didn't notice them when they exit the elevator. Two villains did notice some kids, but they turn out to be Katsuki and Eijiro. Kirishima tried to explain they got lost to find the party, but the villains got aggressive, but before one of them could hit Kirishima, Izuku quickly intervened by kicking Villian in the face. Bakugo. What the hell's going on? Then ice started to form a shield towards Izuku and the others. That was the time Shuyo explained the situation to Bakugo and Kirishima. She also created ice pillar to raise Izuku and the others. Izuku. Wait, you can't fight alone. Shuyo. It's okay, you need to be there for the others while we take care of those villains. Izuku was frustrated but nodded, seeing Shuyo, Bakugo and Kirishima engaging in battle. Izuku's group doesn't see a way forward, but he notices a small door on a nearby roof panel. Melissa explains it leads to the maintenance room but can only be accessed from the inside. Momo creates a small bomb to open the door and tells everyone they can still use it to access the outside wall. Mineta saw that everyone was looking at him and he sighed. Mineta. You all could have just said something instead of looking at me. He used his quirk to create slim-like gloves and a bit of sticky hair at the bottom of his feet. He then got outside of the tower, sticking to the wall and keeping his sword in place, started wall running. He completed his task by opening the way for his friends. In the control room, the villains are irritated by the students' resistance. They demand the invaders in the field deal with the students. The villains fighting Shuyo and Katsuki prove to have strong quirks. Daigo has a beast-shifting quirk, while Nobu's quirk allows him to hollow out space. Katsuki defeats the Daigo with his howitzer impact move. He gets his sweat on Nobu, giving Shuyo the opening to detonate it with her fire. After defeating the villains, Shuyo and Katsuki check up on Eijiro. He's fine, just stuck in place by his own quirk. They're interrupted when a mass of security bots flood the plant factory. Wolfram orders his subordinates in the control room to use the security bots to apprehend the students. Izuku's group passes the 100th floor and Denki notes how the shutters have opened for them. Ochako deduces that the villains are trying to lead them somewhere. They reach the 130th floor and are greeted by dozens of security bots. Momo prepares a sheet of isolation for the group and they execute plan A. Tenya uses his speed to throw Denki at the bots, where the electric hero uses indiscriminate discharge 1,300,000 volts. The robots are able to defend against his quirk, so Denki turns up the voltage to 2 million. His power quickly fades out and Denki shorts out his brain. Tenya orders his peers to switch to plan B. Momo creates smoke bombs that interfere with the robots' systems. Everyone throws them at the robots while Minoru uses his balls to trap them. Izuku and Tenya use their strength to break through the blockade. Using full gauntlet, Izuku pushes the bots back using 30% of one for all. Izuku. Oh, thank God I'm not feeling the strain venom. That wasn't me at the time. I would say this gauntlet can help you on the long run. Mind if I copy it after this is over? Izuku. Sure, it's fine. Wolfram's subordinates notify him that the students got away and he deduces one of them has a sensory quirk. The students make it to the server room on the 30th floor where they are ambushed by even more security drones. Melissa warns everyone they can't afford to damage the server room by fighting. Tenya and Momo offer to hold off the drones while Izuku takes Melissa on another route. Ochako joins them and leaves everyone else to fight. Tenya takes on the bots using Recipro Burst while Momo creates a cannon that fires adhesive material. Izuku, Ochako, and Melissa continued ahead as their friends fight. The bots managed to outlast Tenya's time limit and Momo have reached her limit as well, and so did Mineta, finding a bit of a struggle to maintain his weapon and he was tired. The robots used restraining bonds to capture them. Izuku and the girls reaches the wind power generation system where they hope to avoid getting ambushed again. Melissa asks Ochako to use her quirk to float Izuku and herself toward an emergency exit at the top of the tower. Ochako lifts Izuku and Melissa toward the exit, but this leaves her exposed to another robot ambush. Melissa tells Ochako to release her quirk but she refuses. Just before the robots got to her, Katsuki makes an explosive entrance and saves her. Shoto and Eijiro join the battle and repel the bots using their quirks. Wind threatens to carry Izuku and Melissa away but Shuyo acts quickly. Katsuki moves one of the wind turbines toward Izuku, and Shuyo uses her flames to push hot wind in their direction, setting them back on course. Izuku thanks Shuyo and remembering the explanation Melissa gave him about Full Gauntlet, he uses a powered punch to break his way into the top floor of the tower. Ochako releases her quirk once they're inside and Wolfram learns of their advancement. He orders Swordkill to deal with the intrusion. All Might struggles to maintain his form but he continues to believe in his students. Both Izuku and Melissa recovered from the fall and were not injured. Suddenly Izuku's spider sense went off. He grabbed Melissa to dodge an attack from a villain named Swordkill. Izuku was mad and used a bit of venom on his legs to get too close to Swordkill and punch him straight in the face, rendering him unconscious. Izuku fights his way through more of Wolfram's henchmen with ease until he and Melissa finally reach the top floor of the tower. Together they find David's shield inside some sort of vault. Inside the storage room, David manages to unlock a special block and sends Sam to retrieve a special item. David swears to never let this device into the wrong hands and Sam replies that everything is according to plan. Melissa overhears the men talking about working with the villains. Melissa. Papa. Dave and Sam looked and saw Melissa and Izuku with shocked faces. Melissa. Please tell me it isn't true. But her father admits it. He was working with the villains to get the invention that was taken by sponsors. It was originally Sam's idea to hire fake villains to steal the research back for them. Izuku and Melissa are both horrified by this revelation and the latter demands to know why. David admits that he was doing this for All Might because his quirk is disappearing. Izuku felt guilty that All Might lost his power and now David is acting desperately on that. With anger, Melissa tells David that she and her friends risked their lives to save everyone. David. What? That can't be. The villains was supposed to be fake. Wolfram. The only act is pretending to be fake villains. He said while making a dramatic entrance. Izuku came rushing at him at breakneck speed about to punch him but Wolfram made it out just in time to use his quirk. Izuku. Metal manipulation, huh? Venom. Want to use it now? Izuku. The others will act suspicious. Izuku backed up, putting his guard up, but then he suddenly got bondage from the villain's quirk. Izuku. Damn it, Wolfram. Now the device. And that was when Sam grabbed the device from Dave's hand and ran towards Wolfram. Dave. Sam, why? Sam just looked at him. Sam. You turned your back on me when we never got paid for our hard work. When Sam gave Wolfram the device he asked him about their arrangement and the thing he got was bullet shot to the arm. Sam. This wasn't part of the deal. Wolfram. Well, we didn't agree to anything. He shoots again but Dave jumps in the way of the bullet. Wolfram. What's this, acting a hero now? He steps on Dave's injured body. Wolfram. Stop playing a hero. You stained your hands with this crime that can never disappear with just one good act, which means you can't go on being a scientist. And he knocked Dave out. He plans on using David to mass-produce the quirk amplification device. Melissa. Please leave my dad alone, let him go. But her cries fall on deaf ears. Wolfram, it's better to kill you. When Izuku heard that, he got mad and broke free from his bonds and attacks, only to be blocked by Wolfram's quirk and tried to force his way, but Wolfram got away. Izuku. Melissa, don't worry, I'll make sure I'll save the professor and Sam, but I need you to save everyone else. He said while looking at her, both of them looking at each other's eyes fill with determination. She nodded and flees with the hacker following. Izuku refuses to allow him to pass, forcing him to come to blows with Wolfram. Together, Melissa and Izuku manage to save everyone by disabling the security system. All of the drones return to normal mode and Island is set free from the grasp of the villains. Wolfram prepares to escape with David on a helicopter and Izuku pursues them. Melissa calls All Might update him on the stakes. He promises to rescue young Izuku and David. David asked Wolfram to kill him, but he had other plans in mind. Izuku came rushing in with a pissed off look on his face. Wolfram, are you here to rescue this criminal? Izuku, I'm here to rescue the professor. And came rushing in, evading most of the villain's attacks, but then he stopped seeing Wolfram pointing his gun at David and didn't had enough time to see a metal pillar slammed at him, pushing him back. Wolfram barrages Izuku with similar attacks and got on the helicopter with David on board. Izuku, seeing this, rushed in. Izuku, no, I can't let this happen. And when he jumped high in the sky, he grabbed onto the helicopter. Izuku, Professor Melissa, she's waiting for you. Wolfram tries to shoot Izuku, but the bullet is sent off course by a swift tackle from David. This led to Izuku releasing his grip and crashing on the helipad. This made Izuku upset. Izuku, let him go, give back the professor, damn it. Izuku, if I'd used my webs I could have gotten him out. Venom, but you didn't, you still need to keep your alter ego a secret. Izuku was mad until, All Might, it's alright young Midoriya, why? Because I am here. All Might soars through the helicopter, rescuing Dave and sending the villains to their fiery demise all in one motion. David tries to apologize to All Might, but Wolfram abruptly appears from the smoldering remains of the crashed helicopter. He attacks them both with a metal pillar and traps David in a metal casing. Wolfram is using David's quirk amplification device to boost his quirk exponentially. One hero tries to silence the villain, but Wolfram proves far more powerful than before. Wolfram uses his enhanced powers to transform the tower's roof into a scrap metal hell. Wolfram nearly crushes All Might under the weight of a steel barrage, but Shuyo and Katsuki prove that a hero is never alone and came to his rescue. The other students join the fray, with Tenya and Eijiro taking on the metal pillars as well. Motivated by his students' passion, All Might goes beyond his limits and uses his awesome power to break through Wolfram's iron defenses. Just when All Might had the upper hand, he was suddenly trapped in wires and was getting crushed by Wolfram around the throat, but what made shocked was to find Wolfram having another. All Might, you have two quirks. Wolfram, it's something, isn't it? Muscle augmentation. When I was planning this invasion, someone told little something. All for one. If All Might finds out his friend is helping a villain and going to the darkness, then he will be devastated. Wolfram, getting this quirk and information about you really helped, he said while smiling like a maniac. And All Might wasn't smiling. All Might, all for one. Wolfram, oh, where's your smile now? All Might, no, and went throw a punch, but he was pushed back and large chunks of metal were about to crush him. Wolfram, farewell All Might. But then something happened. A bolt of green lighting came towards All Might, pushing him out of the way, leading him, the class and Melissa to be shocked to see Izuku. He turned to look at All Might and he just smiled. Alamite, young Midoriya, but Izuku was crushed in the scrap metal. The reactions: All Might drooped to his knees, the girls crying and guys shocked, not moving at all. Wolfram just laughed. Wolfram, ha 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 ha, well All Might, you just let a kid save you and now he died because of you. But his laughter stopped when he saw his iron prison suddenly exploded, making him strain from it, and then green lighting came near All Might. Izuku, geez All Might, you don't have to be like that. And All Might looked at him a surprised look and he scolds him for being reckless. Izuku, but isn't a hero's job to first act? We people are in trouble. This made All Might smiled a bit. All Might, would you like to help me? Izuku smiled and said yeah. Both him and All Might getting ready. Izuku. I need you to spread only on my legs and right arm, you got it. Venom. Yeah, I got it. At last, the heroes are victorious and the scrap metal hell disintegrates into dust. Melissa checks on Izuku and All Might on David. David thanks All Might for saving him, but All Might bestows the credit on their successors. They are the two heroes who saved the day. Melissa appreciates everything Izuku has done. Izuku reminds her that her actions helped save everyone on this day. Melissa smiled and leaned onto Izuku to give him a kiss on the cheek. Izuku. Melissa. That's a thank you. Izuku was blushing and laughing while Venom was saying something harem and anticlimactic shit coming. All Might tells David that Melissa explained the details of what happened. David admits that he was so afraid the symbol of peace would fade away and lead to the end of peace. David realizes now that he was just trying to hang on to the past, and knows that Izuku and Melissa will protect the future and ensure peace to everyone. All Might says Izuku isn't ready yet, but he possesses the potential to be the greatest hero. David says he can feel the same light in Izuku that comes from All Might, the light of a hero. Finally finish this shit is long, hope you y'all enjoy. Hold on, wait a minute, there is a epilogue for this. Let's do it. Epilogue. We see Melissa visiting her dad at the hospital. Melissa. Dad, I want to David. Why? Melissa. Because I want to do more and help others, and since Izuku and the others are there I can help them and become a supporter for them. When her dad said that, he smiled and approved to it. This made Melissa happy and they talked for a while until it was time for her to leave. After she was walking she looked at the amulet and seeing it glow again she knew what her purpose was and left. Meanwhile we see Izuku and All Might meeting, looking at the city and leaving. Izuku. I know for a fact things are going to be hectic soon. Venom. And we'll be ready because. Izuku. Venom. We are Spider-Man. Nobody's paw. The police force arrives at the Kiyoshi Ward shopping mall after Ochako called them. The police force temporarily closed down the mall in order to find Tamura Shigaraki along with the local heroes. However, the police force and the local heroes could not find Tamura. Naomasa Tsukauchi takes Izuku to the police station to be questioned by him about the event that transpired. The event occurring between Izuku and Tamura has been named the Hero Incident. As a result of the Hero Incident, the police force created a special task force in response to the League of Villains' actions. At the police station, Naomasa questions Izuku about Tamura and their conversation. Although the information Izuku provides is nothing new, Naomasa thanks Izuku for the information and praises Izuku for being level-headed during his confrontation with Tamura. The police investigator is glad about Izuku's actions because collateral damage was kept to a minimum and no lives were lost. Outside the police station, All Might greets Izuku and Naomasa. He apologizes to Izuku for not being there. Thinking about his conversation with Tamura, Izuku asks All Might if there were times when he failed to save someone. All Might tells Izuku that there were many times he couldn't save someone. All Might modestly admits that he is only human and cannot save everyone. All Might notes that his title, the symbol of peace, serves to inspire people and heroes to play their roles so that more people can be saved. Izuku's mother arrives to pick Izuku up. Izuku comforts his crying mother, telling her that everything is fine. After Izuku and his mother leave, Naomasa theorizes that Tamura will probably target other students and decides that hero schools must exercise more caution and become more proactive in implementing countermeasures against villains. Naomasa advises All Might that leaving UA is also an option, but All Might decides against it. Naomasa concludes their conversation by saying that they will capture All for One this time, to which All Might agrees. The next day at UA, Shota informs Class 1A that the destination for their lodge trip has been changed and the new destination will only be announced on the day of the event. The first semester has come to a close and summer break has begun. On the day of the Forest Lodge trip, Class 1A and 1B prepare to board buses. After Nito fails to mock Class 1A due to Itsuka, Class 1A boards a bus that will take them to the Forest Lodge destination. On the bus, Shota tries to inform his students that the bus will be stopping in 1-hour intervals. However, Class 1A are fooling around and pay no heed to their teacher. Shota decides to let their behavior slide and notes that their days of fooling around are numbered. An hour passed and the bus for 1A stopped for a restroom break. However, they find that 1B were not there. Suddenly 2 women dressed in cat-like costumes along with a young boy appeared, introducing themselves as the professional hero team, the Pussycats. Izuku was excited to see them. Hearing about their rescues, talked about how long it was after their debut. This made one of the women tried to grab him in the face, but Izuku dodged with his quick reflexes and put her on the ground, making her unable to move. This shocked most of the class, including the other hero and Aizawa. Aizawa. Midoriya, please release her. His thoughts. This kid just kind of training did he do? Izuku released the hero, making her look at him, but she shuddered when she looked his eyes. They were red and filled with a cold, calculated precision. Mandalay explains to Class 1A that they will be staying at the base of a mountain which is a part of their domain. They have 3 hours to reach the base of the mountain using their quirks as they please, and those who don't arrive there by 12:30 p.m. won't be served lunch. Soon, Class 1A realizes that they have already arrived at their destination and their training camp has already begun, with the Pussycats being their supervisors. All of them tried to get back to the bus, but Pixie Bob used her quirk to create a landslide, pushing all of them to the forest. Location. In the forest. We see the class getting up and trying to find their way. Izuku and Mineta stuck close to each other, both got their weapons ready. Izuku suddenly sensed something coming and Kyoka did as well, using her quirk. Izuku, Kyoka. Guys, we got company. Both of them said the same thing. This led Kyoka curious about Izuku, but he started to run along with Mineta. Both rushing quick and slashing a monster down, leaving the others shocked that they found a monster that quickly. After that, more monsters started to appear and Class 1A started to fight all of them. Meanwhile, we see Pixie Bob doing hand motions using her quirk and Mandalay talking to Aizawa about the camp while the young boy was looking rather annoyed. Time skip. Class 1A arrives at the facility, battered and tired. It's now 5:20 p.m. in the evening. Pixie Bob admits that she thought they would take longer to get to the facility. She praises Class 1A for figuring out her Earth beasts quickly and easily. But then Pixie Bob came towards Izuku and Mineta. The two of them, both shirtless, were getting a bit uncomfortable from Pixie Bob's commendation against one of her Earth beasts and concludes that they have experienced action against villains. Izuku then looked towards the young boy. Izuku. Hey, I have a question. But Izuku had blocked Pixie Bob's claws. Pixie Bob. What were you going to say about my age? Izuku. I was going to say, as whose kid is that? Mandalay chose to speak and said this as Kota, her nephew, and asked to say hi to Class 1A. When Izuku heard, he got away from Pixie Bob and walked towards Mandalay, more specifically Kota. Izuku. Hi, I'm Izuku Midoriya, it's nice to meet you. He said it while smiling, but then his spider sense was on and he had to stop a punch towards his manhood when he saw that Kota was the one to do it. He was shocked and Venom was laughing out loud. Venom. Ha 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 ha, if only your spider sense didn't warn you, would have felt a lot of pain. No more baby maker. Izuku. If that happened you would have healed me. Venom. I would, but what's the fun in that? Izuku. You're cruel. Venom. There comes a time I will help you find the way. Izuku. What? Venom. The way to losing your V card. Izuku just cut him off and focused on Kota, releasing himself from Izuku's grip and walking away. Kota. I don't want to be around with people who want to be corny heroes. And he left, leaving Izuku to wonder. Aizawa instructs them to get their luggage and put them in their rooms. After that, he told them to go to the dinner hall afterwards to take a bath and relax. Aizawa. Tomorrow begins training, so you better be ready. After fetching their luggage and putting it in their rooms, Class 1A head to the dining hall and have dinner. They enjoy the delicious food that the Pussycats provide them. After finishing dinner, Class 1A go to the hot springs for a bath, one side for males and another side for females, which is divided by a wooden wall. Izuku's paw. I sighed in bliss, enjoying the water and feeling a bit of Venom's tendril out means he's enjoying it too. But then I looked up and saw Kota about to fall, and using my quick movements I grabbed him just in time while on the wall. When I was looking at him he was unconscious, meaning the steam mist have gotten him. I looked down and saw Mineta and told him to catch Kota, which he did. Mina. Thanks for saving him, Midori. I looked towards the girls but then I blushed seeing their bodies that are covered by steam. I had to look away and was about to jump to the boys' side but then I was suddenly grabbed by from my left wrist and when I looked it was a pink tongue and knowing who it belongs to I tried to get away but I was pulled down and using my right hand holding me. I shouted out to the guys for help but, Mineta. Sorry Midoriya, I really wish I can help but I'm going to take Kota out, sorry. Kaminari. Sorry man. And the others did the same including Tenya. I was panicking and Venom while enjoying it then I lost my grip and got pulled down in the girls' side of the bathhouse. I got out of the water to breathe and when my eyes opened I saw all the girls looking at me while covering their lady parts. I just stammered not knowing what to say. Instead Ochako and Shuyo came towards me putting their bodies on my chest and back. Ochako. Izu. Shuyo. Midoriya. They said my name while looking at me with eyes like they're in heat. It was driving me crazy. Izuku. Venom, help me. Venom. Haha, I don't know, you might enjoy this. Izuku. I might but not right now, I need to get out of here and the girls are looking at me like I'm some fresh meat. I need to now. Venom. Fine, hold on. What Venom did was this, controlling my body and kissing both Ochako and Shuyo on the lips and then biting their necks a bit which gave him enough time to leave but he didn't stop there when he was about to leave. Venom Izu. Hey girls. When they looked they saw my manhood in all its glory making blushing full and then he left and I just sighed. When I got control of my body I walked towards the room where the boys can rest. After putting on my nightwear. All the boys saw me, some of them mainly Kaminari, asking me about the girls' bodies but I just looked at him, cold eyes making him back off. Everyone went to bed leaving me and Venom. Izuku. You suck. Venom. Oh come on, it did help you escape. Izuku. But did you really had to show them that? Venom. Maybe. Izuku. Dude, come on. Venom. Ha 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 ha. I just sighed but thinking about what Mineta told me about Kota's parents and their murderer from Mandalay my fist tightened. But I calmed down and went to sleep. Izuku. Somehow I have this strange feeling something's going wrong soon. While I was sleeping Venom used sonar to spread far, finding no interference he went to sleep. Nobody's paw. The next day at the time of 5:30 we see Class 1A outside of the training camp cabin. Aizawa. Good morning students, today you will all undergo reinforcement training to strengthen your quirks which will allow you to obtain a temporary license. Aizawa got a ball and throw at Bakugo telling to pitch it with his quirk. Bakugo. Alright, go to hell. The pitch distance was 709.6 meters, a minor increase from his record of 705.2. This made most of the class shocked except for Izuku and Mineta, thinking that it would have been higher. Aizawa. You all have gained much experience and definitely have grown, but the growth has only been emotionally and technical. Then Aizawa looked at Izuku. Aizawa. How, I ask someone else to do the pitch, Midoriya. This made Izuku surprised but he walked towards him and caught the ball. Aizawa. Since I haven't seen you did the apprehension test, this will show how far you've improved with your new quirk. Izuku just nodded and got into a stance to activate One for All. Izuku. The percentage. Venom. 9% with no straining. Izuku. Perfect. Izuku got ready while the others, mainly the boys, thought Izuku won't make it far. Oh boy, were they wrong. When Izuku threw the ball it went far and created a sonic boom, pushing some of the class back. When the wind was down they were shocked to see a large crater. Izuku got out and looked at Aizawa. Izuku. So what's my score? Aizawa just looked at him with a shocked look on his face. And just showed him his score, and the class were shocked to find Izuku with infinity sign. Bakugo was pissed. Not only was Izuku here showing him up but suddenly having a quirk and made it far in the ball throw. Aizawa calmed himself. Aizawa. Now from today onward you all will be focusing on upgrading your quirks. Few minutes later we Class 1B walking towards the Pussycats cabin. Their teacher, the blood hero Vlad King, informed them that they will be improving and upgrading their quirks to push it to their limits to make them stronger. Once they made it they saw Class 1A trainings. Vlad King. Class 1A's already sweating, so catch up quick. The class saw two of the students of 1A, Izuku and Mineta, both have their weapons drawn and looking at each other. 1B were confused on what they are doing until the two clash sword against sword, pushing each other. Like they're dancing, every stance, precision, block every last detail that two must focus. It was something to see from the looks of 1B seeing these two fighting. But it came to an end. The two of them stepped back and put their swords back in their sheaths. Class 1B doubt if they, along with Class 1A, can all be trained and supervised all at once. The Pussycats consisting of Mandalay, Pixie Bob, Ragdoll, and Tiger introduce themselves and their quirks to Class 1B. Tiger asks any student with simple power augmenting quirks to go to him. Izuku. I'm proud of you Mineta, we came a long way. Mineta. Thanks Midoriya. And the two shook on it and Mineta left seeing if he can focus more on his other weapons. Meanwhile Izuku was approached by one of the Pussycats. Tiger. Tiger. Alright, I want you to attack me GIV. But he didn't finish since he had to dodge a punch which made a crater from Izuku. Izuku got up standing, his eyes turned red showing no emotion and one for all activating producing the green lighting arcs surrounding him. He stared at Tiger and without making a sound got behind Tiger and going for a kick so fast that it hit its target leaving Tiger being pushed and dragged towards the ground leaving his team and also 1B shocked. Izuku just walked eyes shining brightly and was about to strike but his body suddenly stopped, his eyes turned back green and had emotions on his face. Seeing what he did he apologized but Tiger said it was alright. After that Aizawa explains to Class 1B that the Pussycats have large area of effect quirks that can help and train dozens of students all at once, saying that it is the best way of advancing everyone's quirks in a short span of time. Izuku is seen under a tree meditating while talking to Venom, not knowing Kota was behind a tree watching. Later that day at 4 p.m., Pixie Bob and Ragdoll provide Class 1A food materials and tell them that they must make their own food from now on. Tenya sees this as survival skill training and motivates his class to start making curry. Class 1A begin making their own curry. Mina asks Shuyo to make some fire, causing Momo to remind everyone to not rely on someone else otherwise they won't learn how to make food on their own. Shuyo decides to help Mina anyway and lights a fire for her. After finishing their cooking, Class 1A decide to eat their curry. Watching from afar, Kota notes that their training is a waste of time and leaves. Izuku sees Kota while walking back to his class. After finishing his meal he got a bowl of curry and followed Kota. On a cliff we see Kota sitting while his stomach was grumbling. Izuku. So this is where you were going. Kota got surprised and turned to see Izuku with a bowl of curry. Izuku. I'm pretty sure you haven't eaten yet. Kota. I don't want your food or your company so leave. Izuku. Your parents were the water horses wrote. Kota. How do you know that? Did Mandalay tell you? Izuku. No, my friend told me after he took you towards her. That was when she told him about what happened to your parents. I'm sorry that your parents died because of a villain. Kota. Heroes and villains are all the same, showing off their quirks. I hate it. Izuku. So that's it, he doesn't just hate them but the modern society. Izuku. Hey listen, I know how it feels. Kota. How can you understand? Izuku. Because I was turned down by my idol and thought heroes were nothing but fakes. Kota was surprised to hear that, but what actually shocked him was seeing Izuku in his spider suit without his mask. Izuku. I was once quirkless and thought that I should give up, but then a friend helped me and gave me a way to be a hero in my own way. Then Venom started to form his head, making Kota a bit scared, but he calmed down after Izuku and Venom told him about his life as a vigilante. And seeing his memories, Kota. Whoa, Izuku. Chuckling, yeah I know, but listen, you don't have to hate heroes because of what happened to your parents, instead become one that can change this society for the better. When Kota heard that he felt inspired and what Izuku said made him gave respect for Izuku. Izuku. And one more thing, I promise to look for your parents' killer to make sure he gets what he deserves. And Izuku put down the curry next to Kota and told him he can't reveal his alter ego, saying he'll do it himself. Kota nodded and Izuku changed back into his training clothes and left, and when he turned his head he saw Kota eating while having a smile on his face. Izuku smiled thinking he did something good, which Venom agreed. Suddenly his spider sense went off, making him turn his head and using sonar but finding nothing. Izuku. That's strange. But he continued walking to the campsite, meeting Ochako, who hugged him tightly on his arm, and Shuyo, who got on his back enjoying herself. This made Izuku sigh, thinking it's going to be a long day. Meanwhile, a few kilometers away from the training camp we see Dabi along with two masked villains appear. Villain number 1. Why are we waiting? Let's hurry up and kill already. Villain number 2. Now we must wait since it's not time yet. Dabi. We're only sending a warning signal to these heroes who will fall for the sake of a brighter future. Dabi's thought. There will be 9 of us here, which should have been 10 since the sociopath Himiko Toga hasn't been seen for so long, made me curious finding out she stopped her killing spree. But his thoughts were interrupted by the masked villain who was getting restless and wanted action. Dabi had to make them be quiet, saying they all need 9 of them together soon. 3 other villains show up, with one of them apologizing for arriving late. Dabi informs his fellow villains that the success rate of their job depends on their experience, which they all have. Dabi informs them about their first attack, which will show the heroes that their peaceful lives are at an end. Izuku's paw. I suddenly felt my spider sense went off again. Izuku. V, what's going on? Venom. I'm not sure, your spider sense must be picking up danger somewhere, maybe at home. Izuku. I don't know about that. Toga, Mei and Shinso are there to stop crimes, but this feeling. I don't know, but something is about to happen and it's really pushing me off. My eyes turned red for a second, trying to calm down since I was forced in the girls' cabin and Ochako and Shuyo are using my arms as pillows. Izuku. My life is so confusing. Venom. It's going to get more complicated soon, my friend. Anyways, good night. Izuku. Yeah, night. To be continued. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and now we will see you in the next video.